Call the meeting to order. Resolution number 234-2022, be it resolved that the meeting be convened at 9:05
We're at 9:05, yep.
with Reeve Ray Drayson in the chair. We have a mover, please.
Murray.
Murray, seconder.
Grant.
Grant. Just say your names, guys, okay? Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. Adoption of the agenda, resolution number 235-2022, be it resolved that the agenda of the regular meeting of November 14th, 2022 be adopted as circulated. We have a mover, please.
Davidson.
Aaron, seconder.
Vancomer.
Comer. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. Adoption of the minutes, resolution 236-2022, be it resolved that the minutes of for the regular meeting of October 10th, 2022, joint meeting minutes of October 24th, 2022, and special meeting minutes of November 1st, 2022 be adopted as circulated. We have a mover, please. Grant?
Yep.
Say your name, okay?
Grant.
Seconder?
Malcolm.
Malcolm? Any questions regarding those minutes?
I think I circulated them with every other email I sent you, so.
Yeah. All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. No delegations?
No.
Finance and accounts, resolution 237-2022, be it resolved that the financial statement for October 2022 be referred to council. We have a mover.
Davidson.
Malcolm, seconder.
Got it.
Davidson.
Any questions regarding that?
So I can just go over them
Let Trish
just
explain
briefly.
it.
So your packages in front of you have detailed information about your finances. So you have your statement of operations, and I'm just gonna pull it up on the screen here so you're familiar with it. And that is your revenue and expenses to date up till the end of October. I know some of you are not familiar with how this works. You've got your revenue and your expenses listed here. So here's your revenues at the bottom, and then your expenses. So it's all as per your financial plan. It's labeled out, and there's a budget amount for each category of things. So these are, like I said, expenses that we have spent up to date. I check these every month to make sure that they're good. And obviously there's a few that I have to tweak here a bit, but if you have questions specifically about a certain category, or if you're not sure, just ask me. I will be going over this in more detail when we have we're gonna go over our kind of end of year expenses closer to the end of the month here. So I'll go over that in a bit more detail with everybody, but that's just, anyway, your statement of operations is your revenue and your expenses till the end of October, okay? Yeah.
Only thing I wanted to ask is,
Sure.
the grazing leases, when are, there's a variance there of $4,800.
Yeah, so, and is that the one with the
Yeah.
crown? Yeah, so they have actually sent a payment in November,
Okay.
it just will show up next
No,
month,
that's
yeah.
fine, sorry, just.
Nope, that's
I
okay.
thought that would have been done.
Yeah, and then the reserves, so you have a page that is titled reserves. It's one page, so these are all the reserves that council has set aside for specific purposes. It's a lot of paperwork, sorry. So the amounts that are in there are good until, like I said the last time, end of October. So this is what's in your reserves as of then. So some budgeted amounts from your financial plan this year haven't been put in there quite yet. So November, you'll see the difference, especially in your equipment reserve. That'll bump up to, I think it was allotted at 400,000 this year for our financial plan, or was it five? So anyway, next year, but again, I'll go over this with you in your kind of overview of your financials here, but that's that. And then you have so we have our utility operation for the northern part of the municipality, which is just your water account. So we've got residents that are hooked into our utility system. So there's a separate revenue and expense sheet for that, and as well as a balance sheet just showing you what you have for your assets and liabilities. Let me just find it here. Here we go. Give me 2 seconds here. Oh, here we go. So it will look like this, and at the top of each statement, it says water, like the water utility revenue expenses. So again, these are your revenue that's coming for your utility system alone and your expenses for the utility system. And again, it's budgeted amounts as per your financial plan, so it's all set out in your financial plan, which I will go over with you when we get there. It's a lot, and ask questions if you're confused. I might go over this a little too fast, so. And then you have your balance sheet, which shows your assets and your liabilities listed here. This ties into everything that I just showed you with your revenue and your expenses. So, and then you'll have your water balance sheet as well, which ties in with your expenses for your water utility, and it's all your assets and liabilities laid out in that sheet. So, and I think I'm done talking. But again, ask me questions. Like I said, we will have a kind of year-end financial review, so I will go over this a bit more in detail so you're kind of more familiar with it. But
Okay, clear as mud, everybody? Okay,
Robbie.
all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Carried, thank you. Resolution 238, 2022, be it resolved that the accounts check number 29155 to check number 29259 totaling $468,906.56 and direct deposits withdrawals totaling $74,255.19 be approved for payment. Have a mover, please.
Comer.
Comer, seconder.
Grant.
Grant. Any questions on
And I
that?
can explain
Before we
this a
go
bit
any
more
further?
too. Yeah, so you'll have a list of checks in front of you. So it says on the top of the paper, it says payment register. So it will be with your direct withdrawals. So that's separate from, these are checks that we have not approved since the last meeting. So these are checks that have been wrote from October, what was our last meeting? Till now. So this is just checks that have been issued that we've paid. And then your direct withdrawals are, and I'm just going to show you on the screen here what it looks like so you're familiar. So this is what comes out of our account monthly. So we have, if you'll see first data, it's our debit machine fees. So we have a debit machine that's set up at the front and it's a contracted with Westoba. And that is just the fees that they charge us. We pay Nipawa for our utility, because our utility is tied in with Town Nipawa. So they bill us on a quarterly basis, and we make sure that that jives with what we're billing out as well. So there's 3 different meters in Nipawa, so we've paid out those on there. And then obviously our payroll, that's a spelling error. No. Payroll, so that comes out there, and then your debit machines, and also the credit card, which is an automated amount that comes out of our account as well. Anybody have any questions about that? And then here's your list of checks. So.
That's a list of the checks.
Yeah, and everybody, I think I sent that out prior to the meeting, so, but.
Any questions on any of those checks being put out? All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you very much. Morning, Alice. Planning matters, Rachel's not here yet.
Oh, okay.
Somebody right out there.
Okay, I'll get her. Yep. Come on in.
I don't like it when she carries so many binders.
It's your turn.
Morning, Rachel.
Morning. You should be used to this many binders. Out with the old, in with the new.
Yep.
How are the
Before we
roads?
start with Rachel, we'll introduce ourselves around the table here.
Some new faces.
Start with Jaron down there.
Hi, Jaron Davidson.
Nice to meet you.
Rob Van Comer.
Hey. Hey. Harold.
Great.
You betcha. Morning. Morning. Hi.
Grant Jardine.
Perfect. Nice to meet you. So yeah.
Okay,
I don't have an agenda in front of you, sorry, but we're just on the subdivision.
Perfect.
The only one that we've got on the table, so.
And that was the birch law?
Yeah, perfect, you betcha.
Okay, so this is a subdivision along Highway 1. Now, in the report to council, did they send maps?
Well, my computer will not bring it up.
Oh, okay.
I'm having technical issues this
No
morning.
worries. What I can do is I can pass it around, because this is something that we had discussed at the Cypress Planning District Board for comment. So, should have, say that, no, I can't find it.
I can pull it up on the screen, but it won't let me.
And of course, it's on the side that's stapled. So basically what it is we're doing specialized agricultural rural subdivision. So typically we see rural non-farm building sites, so small acreages cut out of property. But what we're seeing here is an agricultural parcel that is being removed. Now there is some debate whether or not there's a residence in one of the agricultural buildings on the site. That has yet to be confirmed by Cypress Planning through some investigation. So at this point in time, we're simply treating it as a specialized agricultural site. So this is a hemp processing facility along Highway 1. Circulate those maps so everyone's got a chance to look at them.
West of the corner?
You betcha, yeah. So they are looking at subdividing out 11.84 acres. So it has recently changed hands, and the purpose is to cut out the 11.85 acres and then sell that portion with the structures and the potential residents back to the previous owner. So that's how that's being proposed in the subdivision application. So it had come to the Cypress Planning District Board for comment. Again, Cypress Planning is a commenting agent for the subdivision process. Now at the time there was discussion whether or not there was a residence, because if there is a residence we have to kind of look at a couple different things. But even if there is a residence, we would still allow for the specialized agricultural aspect of the subdivision. So going forward, like I said, it's not the typical subdivision we typically see for that roughly 10-acre parcel. But it fits within the requirements for a hemp processing facility as specialized agricultural use in that zone from the zoning bylaw. So there really isn't too many comments.
Yeah, and I didn't have any.
No,
Yeah.
it's not typical for what we see, but we don't see a lot of specialized agriculture, but it fits into what we had set out for hemp processing.
I'm really sad that I can't show it on the screen. It's really bothering me.
Oh, technology is great until it decides not to.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So-
Just go out to the junction of Highway 1 and number 5 and go, you can see it from the corner.
Yep, go west road.
You betcha.
So,
That's on the south side of the
Yes,
highway.
Yes, yeah.
so is it still a hemp factory?
So as far as I can tell, the use remains. Now, whether or not the use has actually been practically applied is another story. Now, this processing facility fell out of the Cypress Planning District scope of work because of the size of the structure and the type of use. So this would have been an office of the fire commissioner or inspection and technical services. They've changed their name recently. So what actually is being developed out of that site is out of my purview. Unless, again, there is a residence, there was some discussion about a potential residence in one of the structures. If that's the case, we have to verify that we have proper fire separations and all that good stuff. Thank you.
Question.
You betcha.
When there is a facility of that size and it goes to the office of the fire commissioner, do Cypress Planning District still get the permit? Like the building permit is issued, or?
So what happens is we issue a development permit allowing for development on site. And then through the process from OFC or ITS, they are supposed to send the initial building permit application, the building permit, as well as the final occupancy permit. With that being said, this is an older structure, so we dug through the files and we have a series of information on it, but we don't technically have a final occupancy, but it was issued, we just don't have a copy of it in the office. So.
Any more discussion or ideas on that then? It all falls into the parameters anyway, right?
You betcha. So again, with it being specialized agriculture, we have allowed for hemp processing within the zoning bylaw. They require a certain amount of acreage, site width, and setbacks, and the site plan or the subdivision application map, which gets sent out with the application, it meets all their criteria. So.
Good.
It's tend to talk really fast, so if anyone wants me to slow down, just let me know.
You and I have that same issue.
It's about the third travel mug I've had today, so a little quick.
Yeah.
This in,
You betcha.
subdivision file 4155-22-8448, 3944230 Manitoba Limited, resolution 239-2022. Whereas council has received an application from Birch Law applicant on behalf of registered owner 3944230 MB Limited, file number 4155-22-8448 for subdivision of the property legally described as Northwest 61114 WPM. Approval subject to the following conditions: that a variation order be granted increasing the maximum site size from 10 acres to 11.84 acres within the AG zone, that future access to the remaining parcel be at the cost of the applicant, and all legal costs incurred be the responsibility of the applicant. Will the mover, please?
Comer?
Seconder? Davidson. Any questions or comments on that? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may, going forward with the subdivision processes and presenting them to this council, we had originally in the past done up a package which included the maps along with the subdivision summary. I had gone away from that with COVID and all that kind of things, passing out paperwork. Would council like to have those in hand? Like, I know we usually have them up on the board, but would it be beneficial to have the packages back so that everyone could kind of have a hard copy and kind of see what we're doing?
And I can even print them too.
Yeah, like, it's one of those things, we're doing the prep work anyways for our own files, so it's really easy just to print off, a set of 6 or 7 kind of copies.
Some like to do the paper copy in front
For
of
sure,
them, and some
yep.
are okay
I
with
would
this.
like to see that.
I would like
Sure
to, so
thing.
you have it ahead of time and you can
Yeah, I think I
study it.
dispersed it out, like in through an email or whatever, but it's complete. Okay, and if you would,
But at the meeting, it's nice to
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
it.
sure,
for you too.
yeah, so
Perfect, yeah.
I'll print them out when I get them
Sure,
from you and then.
either way,
That's
yeah.
fine, because I already have enough paper to
Yeah,
print mine as well.
Do I issue out the subdivision summary that I keep in the file? I can't.
Yeah,
Yeah, do I? Okay.
yeah, yeah, I think you do.
If not, I'll make sure
okay.
it gets sent out
Sure.
with comment, so.
Yeah,
What's the cost for a variation order?
So a variation orders, like a standalone variation order is $300. If you do it in conjunction with a conditional use order, it's $250, so it works out to $500 for both.
Okay, Spence Development Agreement, tax proposal. Chris, you wanna go over that?
I can, so the last council meeting, obviously, new faces, so I'll kind of update everybody. So Jamie Spence, has a subdivision that was approved, when was that, like, August or September, I can't remember.
Oh, I'd have to go back to check,
know,
I'll
it
be
doesn't
honest,
matter.
I didn't even bring this
So
subdivision
he has,
file with
a
me, so.
subdivision currently out at, just off the number 1 highway, it's called Oak Sands. If you're familiar with it.
That's, we're talking east on the trend.
It's
No,
going
west.
west,
Okay.
just, south of the number 1 highway, it's on Road 88.
Okay,
So he had his first phase of lots that we'd approved back in, I don't even know, a long time ago. How many lots are in there? Like,
Oh.
a lot. Anyway, he
question.
has sold them, basically all of them, and he is doing a second phase now to his subdivision, which we've approved. And now he has issued council a development agreement for specific, like what he would like to see within those lots and how the houses to be built, that sort of thing. He also came to us with a tax proposal. So last time, we had given him a tax break for 3 years. And it's come to light since I've, reviewed the municipal act very well, that we cannot give tax breaks unless it's under certain circumstances. So if there's an assessment change, or if there is an estate matter, or some kind of legal order, otherwise we cannot issue tax breaks, just so you're all aware. I think it has happened in the past, and it certainly can't go ahead So unless we have a specific bylaw in place that council would like for developments, then that can be discussed for future as well. So, that's up to council. But there are stipulations in the municipal act where you cannot, give tax breaks, so, just so you're all aware. So, Jamie did send, and I think I can probably pull it up here, but I did send it out to council, a little while ago, even the new ones, I don't know if you did receive it or not, but, so, and I'm just gonna bring it up on the screen here if I can find it.
Yeah, so.
Here, you can,
Yeah, if
You're
you
planning
don't mind
side.
if I jump in
Not
here.
at all.
So the original subdivision was a 21 lot subdivision, so that is Diane Road and Muirhead Road, off of 88 West. There's, it's off of Highway 1, but there's the service road that kind of breaks it up a bit. Second phase is 7 residential or rural residential lots with the extension of Diane Road, and then phase, it would be phase 3 if we continued with that numbering. Phase 1 is already the developed lots, phase 2 is this 7 lot that he's creating. And then phase 3 is the potential for another series of lots with an additional road access off of 88 West. So this current subdivision application is actually 9 lots, not including the portion of the road. So 7 rural residentials, a larger 30-acre lot, which is the potential phase 3 subdivision, and then the residual parcel is kind of a swampy area that is, he technically accesses off Highway 351.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to keep that larger portion for himself and develop his own personal residence there. So there is really no real planned development on that lower end, specifically because of the swamp and the fact that Highway 351 is exceptionally difficult to have additional road approaches added into. So at this point in time, I can't anticipate having a phase 4 in any, in any capacity. The last lot will be left for himself. So this is kind of an area that was originally blanketed with the rural residential 10. Now when Jamie went through the whole process to subdivide the first 21 lots off, we ended up having to vary all of the lots down to about 5 acres or roughly 5 acres. So in the zoning bylaw that we are currently proposing, we've kind of painted that space that he's doing his current subdivision into an RR5. Just to alleviate all the additional paperwork, because he's not looking to create rural residential 10 or 10-acre lots in that space. He's got all of the lots sold in phase 1 at this point, and the majority of them have either started development or we're in the planning phases for it. So it's definitely filling up, for sure.
Yeah, and I have, the development agreement is up on the screen. It's kind of your standard development agreement with, the landowners for this. So if you're bringing in, if you're buying a lot, this is what you would get with that purchase, I believe, Rachel, and you can correct me. And then it's got stipulations in here, what he's requiring, like, kind of
For sure.
to look at.
Yeah, so typically with multi-lot residential and multi-lot rural residential subdivisions, we ask that the applicant and either the town or the municipality work together on a developer's agreement, which basically allows for certain criteria of development within the lot. So anything he's listed out will be above and beyond what we currently set out as a zoning bylaw requirement. So at one point in time, there was talk of square footage sizes being slightly higher than what we originally had set, just so that the entire subdivision has a consistent feel. Some other developers' agreements stipulate there has to be an attached garage. Some of them limit height; you can't be more than 2 stories high. I think Jamie went further into his developer's agreement and limited the number of animals, 2 cats, 2 dogs.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the rural setting, we can get in a situation where we have too many domesticated animals. Now we currently propose in the new zoning bylaw to limit the RR5 to no animal units in North Cypress-Langford, because that's just consistently what we have done in the past. And if not only have we done it in the past with the zoning bylaws, but every developer who has set up an RR5 within North Cypress-Langford has a developer's agreement that says no non-domesticated animals, no livestock, no horses, no chickens, none of that kind of stuff. So, but again, developers' agreements are pretty standard with all multi-lot residential or residential subdivisions. So.
Is there any concern with increasing the density of residences out there over the aquifer?
That I'm not entirely sure of. So generally speaking, when it comes to the aquifer, that's, I kind of send people to other government agencies that have a little bit more information on that. They are a commenting agent.
Yeah.
So with the subdivision process, there is a series of provincial agencies that have to provide comment along with Cypress planning. And there hasn't been one yet that has flagged for concern. So again, these are obviously not serviced by a rural water system, they're supplied by an individual well system. So that, generally they don't limit the capacity for individual wells. If they had tried to set up a rural water system, there would be a water rights license and water allocation. So when you get into those systems, you have to be a bit more concerned.
And aside from the water usage, there's the effluent too, so they would have to have holding tanks there?
So in this situation, I can't remember what the specifics are, but I'm pretty sure they were told that unless they can provide documentation from a soil specialist, they are limited to holding tanks. But they would have to get their parcel reclassified through the process of having someone come out and do field testing in order to do a field. So that is pretty standard in the rural residentials out that way.
Yeah.
So.
Robbie, you have a comment?
I don't know how to do this, but full disclosure, when Jamie started the subdivision, I approved for the 10 acres, as we were asked as neighbors, right? He butts up against my corner.
Yeah.
So then we did not vote for him to go to 5 acre lots. So now, like, it's all gonna be 5 acre lots. I don't know if that matters with me sitting here now today, moving forward. I don't know if I abstain from this vote, or
So,
I mean,
not a conflict, but
No.
you should be concerned about it,
You
yes.
can bring your concerns up.
I mean, there's no real concerns anymore other than back then it was just, you know, like 10 acre lots, the RM had approved it going in.
Okay.
And then he said that he couldn't sell them because he was asking the price. So then he went back and broke them into 5 acre lots. Now that's fine. I just didn't feel that that was right, and I didn't want all these extra people on my fence.
Yeah.
And that's all it was back then. There was a lot of neighbors.
Yeah.
But when
So
does
anyway.
when does that not be opened up? Like, he did go from 10 down to 5, should they not been consulted?
No,
when they
we
went
were
up?
right, like there was a
Yeah, you were,
meeting,
okay.
yes.
So
And
that,
that's where we voted against it.
Oh, I see.
But council passed it, which, I mean, that's
yeah,
right.
so in that process, it would have been variation orders for every individual lot, right? So
Mhm.
we would have had to vary it down from 10, which would have had the public hearing, which would have had public engagement. So, again, in that whole space, in that specific area, it's predominantly RR10. So this is just the new zoning map that we've got in this bylaw. So it's all RR10 except for a small portion here, and then the portion that Jamie has. So everything else is painted with that RR10. Again, knowing that there are a lot, the ability to develop an RR10 parcel is a lot easier with, or a lot more appealing to people moving out of urban centers until they get an RR10. Until they get 10 acres to actually maintain and develop, it seems really great. But we're seeing a lot more application and a lot more discussion for 5 acres. It's a lot more manageable, especially for, like I said, people moving out of urban centers. They love the idea of a 10, but they have no idea the maintenance on a 10. So 10 acres involves a lot more care, so.
Bigger than people think.
You betcha, yeah, 10 acres seems very small to people until they actually have to move snow and mow grass and things, so.
The only thing to add too is in the new bylaw, they did keep the RR4s, so that anyone with an existing RR4, we're not changing it, correct?
Yeah, so we've actually, it's going to be an RR5, but we have wording and clauses in the zoning bylaw to address the RR4. So the RR4 is not changing whatsoever, so that would be the Byram subdivision area and that sort of thing. It's there, all of the requirements and the allowances for animal units and whatnot.
And I know it's in a
so-
different spot of the RM one,
Yeah.
this is just so that you guys know that the RR4s are still around, so the animal units still can be had in those smaller divisions.
The only bad issue with the subdivision over the years has been garbage in the field, blowing from the subdivision. And I've had to deal with it a few times and it's being handled, and it's not necessarily always the homeowners, it's the contractors.
Yes,
A lot of time, it's still on the homeowner's responsibility.
you betcha,
But
yeah.
it's so anyway, that's the only, I mean, back then, you know, it was whatever, now that's the only thing that is an issue. And I mean, I've met some great people up there, so.
So I guess, summarize like the development agreement as far as I can see, and I don't know if anybody has comments as far as the development agreement goes, but this is your standard agreement. It's, and I'm gonna ask Rachel this, but when we do a development agreement, it's up to council if they choose to register those, right,
So,
on title?
A developer's agreement gets registered on title.
Yeah.
So that is up to it would be up to Mr. Spence
To
to register
okay.
prior to the sale of the individual
Right,
lots.
okay,
Because the only way we can continue or to maintain the requirements is to have it registered on title.
yeah,
So,
yeah, okay, so, and obviously it's something that is handed out when they do purchase this lot, so.
you betcha.
But I don't have any concerns as far as this agreement goes, I don't know if anybody else has any comments, but, like I said before, he did, issue, here's the letter here, the, tax structure, so what he's referring to here is, so he says, I propose that this tax structure not be changed on the newly subdivided lots owned by 6998986 and to limited from the current rate up to the new residential rate for up to 3 years after new lots are titled unless they are sold. This gradual tax change would help offset the increasing costs associated with the development project. So that's what we did previously,
But
Um,
now we can't.
but
so
we are
we're-
not under any kind of stipulation in the act that we can do that. So I will tell Mr. Spence that as well, indicate that, but as far as the development agreement, I don't have any issues with it. So if it's okay with council, I'll tell him that, but Rachel, I don't know about planning, like if you reviewed the development agreement.
Yeah, so it's very standard, or very similar to the one we had prior to, for these other lots. So Jamie and I had gone through it, prior to it being submitted to the council. So I haven't reviewed this one. I'm
Okay.
assuming it hadn't changed from
No,
what he and I had
it's
looked
pretty
at.
similar, yeah.
So if there's sorry,
Don't go
if
ahead.
there's a approach put in off a municipal road, is there a permit issue for it?
Not from planning, no.
Not
So
for
there
planning,
is,
from us?
We don't issue permits for approaches.
Okay.
As long, we have a approach policy that we stipulate who we build approaches for and why. Normally, if it's a quarter section of land, there's an approach allowed per quarter section. If there's an existing approach there, then they are to use that one. If they would like to build another approach, it's at their cost.
Okay, but they don't need approval or anything?
But they do
Yep.
need to speak to,
No.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
to
Okay.
Public Works or myself,
Okay.
and then we deal with it that way, but, yeah. That's
There
a
was
good
just one
question.
put in there and I just kind of,
yeah, so Jamie had come to council to discuss his subdivision as well as discuss, there's actually 3 approaches that were put in. One into his existing, the large lot that will remain. One is the continuation of where the road will be with phase 3. So Diane Road will come down and there'll be a new road put in and it will come out to 88. So there was an approach put in there. Just to properly space out lots with
Yes.
the subdivision map. And then if I'm not mistaken, there was one more put in, but I can't think of where it was.
South Oak Sands,
Yeah.
Mhm.
South Oak Sands Road.
Yeah, but normally, the request comes in to me or Matt,
Okay.
and then
Just,
we and then I make sure that it's legit, yeah. It's a good question, though.
Yeah, so in speaking to that as well, where that road, the approach is put in for the potential road extension, there was a lot of discussion about how he should develop that approach, because otherwise he could potentially put in the approach and then have to rip it completely out, because it has to be built to the municipality's road standard, so. So I'm not sure, he was in chats with the municipal
Yeah.
foreman, so.
Okay,
Yeah, it was just on for discussion, so yeah.
okay, bylaws. Resolution number 240-2022, be it resolved that bylaw number 7-2022 hereby be read a first time, be referred to council. Can we have a mover, please?
This is your zoning bylaw.
I'll second it, motion.
Now, did I save it on here, Rachel? I know you sent it to me. I sent it out to council. Did you guys receive it, your zoning bylaw?
Yes, I got it.
Okay, so kind of to summarize this up a little bit, this has taken how long to do?
Many, many months. So this is the process that was started because we, as a Cypress Planning District, finally had our development plan approved by the province. So as soon as the development plan came through, basically that governs the policies within the development plan govern how we use the uses within the municipality. So this is my document, these are your documents. So these documents haven't been updated since amalgamation, so we have the arm of North Cypress and then the arm of Langford. And what we had done, or what we had proposed, is we take those bylaws and we make them consistent across the municipality and we blend them into one. So we've gone from 2 binders to 114 pages, not including the maps. And again, we've taken a lot of things into consideration and we've also left some things in the past. So again, these bylaws were fairly outdated with terminology and development uses. And we've kind of carried them through into something that we feel as a committee, now the committee is made up from the Cypress Planning District Board, as something that will take us many years down the road. So again, things like the RR4, we had in the rural residential zones in North Cypress and Langford, we had rural residential 2, 4, 5, and 10. So we blended them into 2, 5, and 10 with special consideration for the RR4s to allow for them to maintain the animal units and maintain the more rural residential feel that they had originally kind of designed the subdivision around. We also have a country residential 4, if I'm not mistaken, just on the outside of town here as well. Again, those will all be blended in, and we had done our best to make sure that anything that was allowed previously, as long as it wasn't something that we felt was glaringly inappropriate for the zone, has been carried forward. We've blended industrial zones together, we've blended some commercial zones together. We have a commercial industrial zone in the agricultural space now. We have what we call in the enterprise zone. So we have a lot of large-scale manufacturing that happens in North Cypress-Langford in the agricultural zone, but we don't have any way to kind of, not limit, but govern the development of those spaces. No, I don't mean to pick on them, but I will use the Hutterite colonies as a perfect example. And we've got large-scale manufacturing blended into agricultural, blended into residential. So the enterprise zone will be a layer applied to the maps. They're not on the maps right now, because basically, again, I will have to go through and I will have to paint that onto the maps to show where those enterprise zones are, but it gives us the ability to start playing with how we develop those, and then also stricter requirements for, again, how we develop those. Large-scale manufacturing really shouldn't be less, than 10 feet away from a residential structure. So again, we didn't have anything in there to kind of deal with that, so we have that going forward. Agricultural uses will remain the same. We've changed the name of it, but everything's still there. We played with the agricultural limited zones around Nipawa, and just kind of blended them all together because we had many agricultural limited zones around Nipawa.
I noticed there's still that restricted on, like, a good chunk of the municipality up there, the restricted livestock.
Yeah, so,
When you're talking about blending it in with the town. I
yeah.
was just wondering, like, there's no provincial requirement to have that, is there?
So there's buffers that we need to have for designated areas.
Yeah, I understand the buffers,
Yeah.
but I mean over the aquifer in general.
Yeah, so we didn't receive any comments back speaking specific to that. We pre-circulated this bylaw out to the government agencies to try to kind of circumvent any additional
I
changes.
understand that, but I mean,
yeah.
like, there is no requirement by law to restrict that, right?
We don't have any requirements, no, not that I'm aware of, other than the buffers that we have to maintain.
Yeah,
So,
around
yeah.
the lakes and the towns and
Yeah.
stuff. I'm just wondering why we're still continuing with that restriction.
Knowing how quickly Nipawa is growing, we have to be very
I
careful.
mean the
Yeah.
restricted animal units over the aquifer.
Yeah, so,
Because if there is a large livestock operation, they have to go through
a technical review, yes.
technical
Yeah.
review. And I'm just thinking, like, we're not limiting residences over the aquifer, why are we limiting economic opportunity for landowners over the aquifer? If they have to go through the technical review anyways.
If I can give an example, if you're a subdivision out here with those 2-acre lots, when it gets developed with about 4 persons per unit. It is about the equivalent of a 1,500 sow farrow finished hog out.
Yeah, so where we had multiple livestock restrictions, the AL is drastically different than what the LL1 and LL2s used to be. I'm just trying to find a better map here.
Yeah, the LL1,
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, so we really have, we have the AGR, and that was something that was requested. So the AGR is the Agricultural Livestock Operation Restricted Zone.
Yeah,
And that is something that the town of Niqua pushed really hard for.
yeah.
Now, with that being said, we don't see a ton of want for development in there for large-scale livestock operations. We see a lot of potential applications in the AL zone.
Yeah.
But honestly, with the development, if we hadn't left that big of a buffer around Niqua, we would get a,
I have no
yeah.
problem with the buffer around
Yeah.
Equal, that's fine.
I was gonna say, it doesn't. Yeah,
That's the one there, the one to the south and the west. You know, it stops at the ward line, like, the aquifer doesn't stop at the road. So why does our limited, I just don't think it's necessary. Like, even like you said, if there's not enough demand for it, then why are we making another layer of bureaucracy within our own development plan?
yeah, I grabbed the wrong binder. I have 2 North Cypress-Langford binders. I didn't grab the Langford one specific.
But you can see it on that.
Yeah,
map.
for sure, just the
whole
cut
area.
line right there, yeah.
And it follows the border of the aquifer to the north and the west, and then to the north and the east.
Yeah.
But it cuts off right there.
Yeah.
Why are we treating one portion of the municipality differently than right across the road? I don't think it's necessary. The ones around the town, certainly, they're needed.
Well, it's one of those things, it would have, knowing how we had previous maps done, this is just being proposed. If council feels that this is an exceptionally large agricultural limited space, we are definitely within the ability to paint it. The only thing, like, again, knowing the AGR zone around Niqua,
Yeah.
that's always been a concern, but everything else is something that we could address and alter if council felt it necessary. So, these maps are done through the province, and it took exceptionally long amount of time to get these back to council. So with that being said, we didn't really focus a lot on the AL zone. So if council feels that we've,
It just
we've
seems like
painted
it's
it,
something
yeah.
that's kind of been forgotten about. It was in there at one time.
For sure.
And I
Yeah.
think we kind of jumped the gun
Yeah.
when it first got put in, because there was never a provincial requirement for it to happen. But we were told that it was going to be, and then it changed, you know, so we're limiting, it just looks so obscure to have a line cut across
Yeah.
where it's still aquifer on the south side of the line.
It's a very straight line.
And
Like it is,
Yeah.
it is
Okay.
just, yeah, it's probably, again, knowing that there's many hands that have touched this map, it's probably an oversight, but then again, we've got lots of ability now from first reading. We're gonna have to do a public hearing for public engagement and then go into second and third, so we've got lots of time to alter this map if we see fit.
Can I just see that for
Yep.
a second?
You betcha.
That's a good point, though.
So you would prefer it to be a little smaller, Jared, like you're being?
Yeah, I think it's unnecessarily, just keep it around the water bodies, like Lake
Yeah.
Erwin,
Yeah.
and around the towns
Yeah.
and developments.
Yeah.
But I just think, like,
Yeah.
I've thought about this for a number of years now, and I know the reason why it was brought in, but I just don't think it's necessary
For sure.
for a municipal level to have to police that when there's no provincial requirement for it.
Yeah.
And the proponent of any development, whether it be a hog barn, or a chicken barn, or a feedlot, they would have to go through the provincial technical review
They gotta go
process
through it
You
anyway.
and prove that they have the soil capacities to whatever animal units they want to propose.
Right.
And I just think by us putting that map out there already, that's, like, we haven't had many requests because people
For
don't
sure.
expect to get one anyways.
No,
But I could, you know, there's no limit for grazing, and if you had to build holding facilities or anything like that, any limit on, you know, economic development, I think is just not something as a municipality we should be trying to do.
was there something missed, Carol?
Yeah.
What was missed?
we have a major livestock operation in the buffer zone now.
Yeah. so
One of the
they-
licensed ones from the province.
Yeah,
And that was licensed through the technical review and stuff, so
okay.
that's just a further
Yeah.
example.
You better look right in this
You know what,
corner.
Harold, do you have a pen handy? Do you wanna just flag it for me?
Oh, totally right on here. I
Yeah,
would
you
look
just
in
draw a
this
big
corner
cloud, big circle,
Because I know there
yeah.
is a
For sure, yeah,
big operation
Yeah.
right there.
yeah, no, I can definitely, and again, these maps aren't something that are done within my office, so it's, and especially existing livestock operations that have done the technical review process, I'm not aware of
Yeah.
some of them,
Yeah,
so.
they don't even circulate.
No, so what we can do, again, just because we go into first reading doesn't mean that we can't alter this document or these maps. It's just to get it on the table to start the whole process, because we can't go into a public hearing until we have that discussion. So knowing that we've got some issues, if I could get everyone to kind of take a look at the specific to map 1, just the agricultural limited space, and just kind of give me your thoughts and opinions on where that buffer should really be. We can move forward, because again, it's a simple request. I already have some information that I have to get them to change on the maps anyways, because pretty sure you guys are not a rural municipality, I'm pretty sure you're just a municipality.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's some issues that have come forward on the maps
I
anyways. so-
noticed that actually too.
So what happens now if that, like it's pointed out, is in that buffer zone?
But it's licensed.
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
license.
It's just a conflict,
Yeah.
okay, so that's what you're getting at?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
I see.
For us to put that limitation there is
Yeah.
unnecessary.
Right,
not
I understand that, good, okay.
Secondly, it runs totally counter to what the provincial government has
Yeah.
licensed.
That too, so.
yeah, so with that being said, one of the clauses we have within the bylaw is that an existing lawful, or a lawfully existing use prior to the adoption of the bylaw will continue to be able to operate with their current operational standards. With that being said though, we wanna make sure that, because we have the ability to open up a conditional use order or not open up a conditional use order for a large scale operation if it's less than 15% because of the changes with, I think it was Bill 19. So we want to ensure that we're not potentially causing damage to a large scale operation in the future by putting them in a zone that they really shouldn't have been in. So again, like I said, we can definitely play with the maps, we can play with the, we can alter the document if we see fit. I really hope you guys don't want to go through page by
It
page.
was just the size of the.
For
sure, yeah.
the east side of Langford.
That's a good point to remember.
Yeah, no, and for sure, again, it's, I'm fairly new into the position, so like I said, I don't know where all the existing operations are. I've kind of relied pretty heavily on the committee and the board.
Big operation.
Yeah, but we want to make sure that we're, again, not limiting anyone that doesn't need to be limited, and we're not painting something in a zone that doesn't necessarily need it, so. So again, if you could just grab that map 1 and start playing with it, we are gonna have to, like I said, do a public hearing, and those are types of things that I wanna make sure that we can address if someone comes to the public hearing.
Did you still need us to mark down on the maps where all the livestock operations?
No, gosh, no,
We've
not the
already got
livestock operations themselves, but if you know that, it's in that area, just kind of circle it and put in existing operation in this space. And then again, because what I'll do is I'll go back to our own records and I'll find what zone they were in and ensure that we keep that same zone consistently. As long as they weren't in a zone that was something that we felt was inappropriate, like if they were closer to Lake Irwin and they were still granted permission to be that operation closer to a water body or something, we would probably still paint them with the new zone. We would just, again, allow for that existing lawful use prior to the adoption of the bylaw.
So that would be like 125 animal units for around Lake Irwin?
Yeah, give or take. Again, there was so many zones, I never want to give an exact
No.
number until I can go back and verify it, but, yeah, honestly, if you see any other issues with the maps, please let me know, because again, we had the committee involved, we had myself involved, we had the province involved to do the maps, but these are your documents, or this is your document, so, we want to make sure, during the design phase, we had a big issue, we missed setback requirements that we had originally. North Cypress had done a ton of work on setbacks from livestock operations for individual dwellings, and designated areas, and we had to go back and put those in, you know, so we wanna make sure that it is exactly what you guys wanted, because this is the document that governs your municipality, so. Again, this is mine, this is yours. And this took forever to get through the province, and hopefully this doesn't take forever, but we definitely wanna keep moving forward with it, so. Please read it, it's only 114 pages.
Just some light reading.
It's good stuff.
No,
That's
that's good,
good, yeah.
good point brought up there, Jerry, yeah, we need to take a look at it.
Yeah, I'm not trying to derail any process.
No,
no,
Now's the
this is
time
the
to do
whole
it.
Because it's not
point.
even required, I just.
And like Rachel said, like, you know, this is first reading, so there can be amendments made
Yeah.
after, it's just, you gotta make those amendments before the second
Yes.
read, obviously, so that's good, that's what it's for.
Yeah, and Rachel brought this to our attention, or that document to us, it was 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
Oh, not quite
Not
that
quite,
long.
but
I've been here, I've only been
found
here
two-
2.5,
Okay,
so.
that's right, so but we found
It's
two
been a
or three
while.
things that
Yeah.
need to be addressed, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's just more
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah, well, and different views on it, right? So,
Yeah.
you know,
That's good.
if we've got concerns, we wanna bring them up now, and then we can kind of get them caught and addressed prior to the public hearing, or at least have them ready to go for the public hearing. It will get recirculated out to the province. Now with that being said, I will let you know, we had, how many pages? We had a large series of comments that were provided to us from provincial agencies, some of which we decided against implementing into the bylaw. Now I will say, agriculture is Manitoba agriculture has very strict requirements of what they would like to see in agricultural zones. Some of which, if we had implemented, would bring difficulties to some of the residents within the municipality. So they don't like to see any structure put into the agricultural zone that is an agricultural use. Now, we have throughout the planning district, and again, I'm gonna pick on the Hutterite colonies, even though it's not fair, but they have schools, and they have churches, and they have multi-purpose facilities, all of which in the comments from the province, or the Manitoba agricultural section, they wanted removed. Now again, I'm not gonna wade into removing religious structures, unless the municipality dictates that I do so. So if you would like to go that route, we can put those comments in, but that is the main reason why that comment was left out, and it will be brought up again through the second circulation. There was lots of comments about, again, non-agricultural uses even into general development. So general developments are the smaller, not quite settlement areas, but allowing for developments of post offices and convenience stores. Because the Manitoba Ag basically says that these areas eventually will become just historic settlement spaces and no longer be general developments or LUDs, and they will be agricultural in nature. So putting in non-agricultural uses into these spaces doesn't serve us in the future. If you remove a post office or you not allow the development in the general development, you will negatively impact the area and it will become a historic settlement space and it will become agricultural in nature. So there are a series of things that we didn't implement, and again, we will have to deal with those commenting agents at that time. But that is a stance that the planning district is prepared to take on behalf of the municipalities. So, but again, I'm pretty sure you received the comments and all of their glory.
Yes.
And like I said, we went through the consultant and so the consultant for this project is Terry Brown. He's a retired planner from the province. He did our development plan, he's doing our bylaws. So he and I sat down and kind of weighed the pros and cons of putting in those restrictive requirements or not, and kind of going that route, so. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Or if you have any suggestions or comments that you feel need to either be added, or not added. Again, I have to ensure that the RR4 is captured in the right way. I did a quick scan and there is some wording, but I don't like the way it was worded, so I'm gonna go back and change it.
So the province can only afford to give us one book?
No.
The province can only, like, I wouldn't mind a buck.
You want a development plan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can, it's not actually the province, it's the Cypress-Planning District, we're really cheap. So I only have one binder printed, but I can make you a binder for sure. If you would like a development plan, I can do that. Once the zoning bylaws once it's done and pretty, we can also provide you a copy of that as well, so.
I'm just thinking in the future, like, when you come to council, like, the buck stays here. If, let's say I go on, like, the books has to, then you always got it. And then you can, in your spare time, read. Like,
For sure.
This is all Dutch to me,
Of course, yeah.
Yep.
Definitely. No, I can definitely make one available. Would you prefer a hard copy or would you prefer PDF?
You can send it, well, then I get it ink. You can send it.
Okay.
And I can even,
Yeah, it's one of those things, I will give you some warning. The development plan is more dry than the zoning bylaw. But it is the policies that govern the development within the uses. So if it's not in the policies, it's not something we can apply into the use, but I can definitely make you a copy.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I've got lots of, in fact, I have a second copy in the office there.
Yes, I read the whole thing last term.
It's fun, hey?
Yeah, I was the one that picked up the problem with the
at
setbacks.
least you
Yes.
read it though, see, it's good. That means you're reading.
I just foresee a lot of problems going in the future, with all these subdivisions and all that, and I just foresee, like, there should be buffers on
Yes.
every waterway.
Yep. You betcha.
And who pays for that now? Then I'm not gonna point an example, but there's a few other egg colonies that are really, really close to phosphorus contamination into our waterways. How do you address that now? Like,
So if there is potential contamination on sites, Hutterick Colony or individual resident or large-scale farm, best practice is to get a hold of me, and I can point you in the direction or provide you the information, because those are all governed through Conservation, Parks and Climate, or whatever the new
Yeah.
provincial name is. They keep changing it on me. But there is a series of technical people who will go out and actually do an on-site assessment and review to see if it is within the buffer or if it is an actual contamination. So.
Going forward though, there's colonies now, when they asking for their licenses, they're having to build holding tanks and fields and all that.
yeah.
I mean, it is getting
Most-
better
Most colonies are,
as
Yeah.
we're processing.
yeah. So
You're
on,
for addressing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, there's obviously, there'll be some in the past that haven't upgraded, and if they haven't upgraded, they haven't required a new license, right?
Yeah.
They're staying the same size.
Yeah.
yeah, and again, so I'll speak to a project we've got going on down south in Glenbrook, South Cypress. We actually have a colony splitting, and they're going through the exact same lagoon application that the municipality is for their future development. And it's off the number of residences they're planning and their accessory use structures. But they're applying through the province the same way for a proper lagoon set, and it's what's holding up the project, to be completely honest, because of the review process. So there is leaps and bounds in that direction that we are now trying to play a little bit of catch up with the existing sites. So there's a lot of movement there in a positive direction, but again, it's trying to bring everyone up to the same standard. So
Right.
yeah.
And that has been a problem for years, where the livestock operations have been, they've come down hard on the livestock operations, but when it comes to subdivisions, they were able to get away with it. It was amazing compared to, fortunately, the Ontario government has been a bit proactive on that. They actually did a huge study with the University of Guelph comparing human waste to livestock waste, and it's a bit of an eye-opener. That's where I said, that's where I got all my figures.
Yeah. Lots of methane goes out in the ground and we make artificial fertilizer. And actually, the truth be told, it's 10 times more than all the livestock in that total period. It goes up in the air with methane.
Like, if I can point out, you said phosphate. Well, phosphate from livestock, you gotta realize, where did the phosphate for that livestock come from?
Yeah. There's lots of
It's coming
misinformation.
from all the fertilizer that was within the drain.
Okay, we got any more discussion on this? Doing that? This is just the first reading, we can
You
make the
betcha.
changes.
It's just to get it on the table so we
Get it
can
on
start
the
the
table.
major discussions.
We have
Fun
a mover and a seconder. Any more comments, questions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you very
One more
much.
big hurdle done.
Thank you.
Can I ask, how you made it with Glenboro and Carberry with this, like the big, the big two? 'Cause
again,
obviously it's,
Yeah, so
It
this
affects
is,
the
this
three.
is the last bylaw to receive first reading. We have received first reading from Town of Carberry and Glenboro South Cypress. Lots of discussion around the tables. Town of Carberry was the least amount of discussion because their zones are pretty specific
Yeah.
and something that we had already really addressed. Glenboro, we had a fair bit of discussion, again, very similar to the agricultural areas within the spaces, so. No, again, no one flat out refused to do first reading, which is great, because again, this is my baby at this point
I
in
know,
time,
that's
and
why
I
I
really
was
like
like,
for
we
it
need to
to
get this
grow up
going,
and
but.
go move away from home.
And then when do you think, a public hearing, like what, like I mean, it would be a little bit yet, but.
Yeah, so we have a minimum of 21 days
Right.
to do our first posting for it. I'm trying to get it to something where it's consistent across the three, just so that we're not pulled in three different directions. But that will all be time specific.
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna circulate out to the province now,
Yeah.
or to our planner from the Brandon Regional Community Planning Office, that we've received first reading and ask his suggestion. So we do have to post it, or post notification twice during the time period to allow for enough involvement from the community. So it will get posted on our website, on North Cypress website, in the offices.
Yeah.
I'm gonna circulate it out to Newport Banner and that sort of thing. And down into Glenboro, again, same, very similar to what we did with the open houses.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we just have to do it a couple of times, just to, again, gather more people into the space. I hope we have some community involvement. We
Yeah.
had very little with the open house that we did. But again, that's not surprising. Until we get to an actual bylaw, it's not real, it's just talking. But again, we're gonna do first reading, or we're gonna do the open house, or the public hearing. So again, I'm not sure if when we're gonna do that, but it's gotta fall within a council meeting or a special meeting. So we'll have to make that decision kind of as a group when the best case for that is, so.
Yeah, when you get the public notice ready, like I'll probably distribute, sometimes I always get like, we didn't know about this, or I've
For
never
sure.
seen that,
Yeah.
so normally I'll post it in like the smaller communities like
Yes.
Brookdale and Edgerns and Wellwood or wherever, because
Yeah.
sometimes people, don't read the paper or they don't have the internet, which I find crazy now, but,
Yeah,
stuff
so-
like that, right, so.
We struggled with that with the open house, is where to post
Yeah.
it. And certain post office will let you post and certain ones won't.
Yep.
And certain bulletin boards, if you post it Monday morning, it's gone by Monday afternoon. And if you post it, Friday, it'll last till Monday kind of thing, so you have to be kind of, Bev and I basically drive out a few times and blanket as many
Yeah.
locations as possible, and if we have to, we might actually make some placards and just pound them into the ground, so.
Yeah, and we have a Facebook page for the municipality.
Oh, perfect, okay.
So we
Yeah.
do put it on there, and I find that sometimes that works because, if somebody sees it that has social media, then they speak to their neighbor or like
For
sort of
sure.
like that, but
Yeah.
it's hard to get everybody
For
to
sure.
see that.
Yeah,
so-
especially without having community paper.
Yeah.
So I know Glenboro does not have a specific municipality webpage or Facebook page, so we tend to drop things into the Glenboro buy and sell.
Oh.
Which isn't the greatest for comments, but at least it gets the information out there. So again, as long as we do the notification requirements from the Planning Act,
Right,
that's all
yeah,
we can
that's
really
right.
be held to. With that being said, the planning district might spend a little bit more funds from our own budget just to make sure that we get enough people. With that being said, again, this is a zoning bylaw, this is a public hearing. If we have more than 26 people who speak out negatively against it, we start the whole development
Yeah.
process again. And we have to basically take what we have presented and edit it and start over. Which I really hope doesn't happen. So we've put a lot of time and effort into that, but again, if it doesn't serve the ratepayers and it doesn't serve the municipality, it's not the document for us. So we'll just start over if we have to.
That's
So.
right.
Good, thank you very much, Rachel.
Perfect. Mr. Chair, if you don't mind, who was allocated to the Cypress Planning District Board? Just want to confirm.
We are just appointing our
Okay,
committee, so
haven't got
I
there
will
yet?
let you know,
Okay.
yes.
With that being said, our
Thursday
board,
night?
no, well, it is a Thursday night, but it will be the 24th, after you get whoever
After we
comes.
convention.
After convention.
Yep.
I had hoped we could meet on the 17th, but unfortunately, I am at a prior engagement. I completely forgot that the Carm banquet was that evening, and I am there on behalf of the Manitoba Building Officials Association, so I can't be in two places at once.
Okay, good, thank you.
Perfect. Was there anything else for planning? Nope.
Did you get my email about the building?
Yes. I just haven't had a chance.
That's fine, I just wanted to make sure you got it.
No, I have. At this point, it's low priority, because
Yeah,
it's,
it's fine.
yeah, it's, I've got a couple of structures I'm trying to get done and out of the way that, were a bit more of a rush, because we got some concrete in the ground just before that snow, so, yeah. I'll get there.
Just hadn't heard.
Yeah, no, it's still there. I read it and then I flagged it. It has been a crazy couple months. With that being said, I did complete my last Part 3 course. I've applied for my building code qualified certification. So what that basically means, for those who haven't been part of many discussions, is that the municipality of North Cypress-Langford has the ability now to apply to the province. Now, don't jump the gun on that, let me get a mentor and stuff involved.
Yeah.
But we can now, I have the certification to start applying for large farm buildings and Part 3 buildings. So we basically, as long as I can find a mentor who the province deems appropriate, we don't have to involve the OFC or ITS anymore. So that was,
Well, good for you.
yeah, it took a little while. And a lot of painful evenings. But yeah, no, we're now at that point, so going into 2023, we are going to actively look at changing the fee schedule, as well as how we're applying for large-scale permits. So typically what the OFC or ITS does, it's 1% of their building permit, or their anticipated building budget. We have 7 development permits to authorize the ITS or OFC to issue permits. The largest of was 1.2 mil. So even if we can get 1% of that, we can really boost
Yeah.
what we're bringing into the planning district. But that being said, we had 155% of our anticipated permit budget this year. We're not planning for that high of a series of permit fees or permit budget for next year, but we're hoping for something similar. So we potentially will look at increasing our permit fee budget, but probably not, just because I'd like to try to get a few years consistent prior to making any major changes. But North Cypress has grown. It's by far the biggest number of permits we have. Like, it's between rural residential and everything else that's going on. Like, we have a lot of permits.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's good.
Yeah, with that being said, would the council like a review of permits from the previous year? So again, next time we'll meet will be December.
I think it'd be a
If you
neat
could,
idea for
I was
everybody
gonna
to
say, if you
sit
could do it
down.
almost like, I mean, not quarterly, but something like that.
Sure.
Like in that way, you don't have to give it every month, but.
Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll do a recap of the year in
Sure.
December, and
Yeah.
then going forward, we'll provide quarterly updates on permit fees.
Yeah, that's fine.
Perfect, you'll see that Riverbend, as much as I pick on the Hutterick colonies, Riverbend is definitely carrying us through. So we have about 15 building permits with them, and I've got 2 more that I'm trying to get through. So they are our large-scale RTM manufacturer in North Cypress-Langford, and they do a ton of work. And we're seeing a ton of their RTMs actually staying in the area, which is interesting, because normally they get shipped out wherever, but yeah, we're getting them on both sides now, so foundations and the RTMs. Perfect.
Good, thank you very much.
Thank
for coming.
you.
Great way out and get back to my permits.
Well, I'd have to get to work.
I left her a stack on her desk, I'm not sure she'll be happy with it when I get back.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Nice meeting everyone,
Take
and
care.
whoever ends up on the Cypress Planning District Board, I swear it's a fun time. It's not as scary as all these binders, I promise.
Thanks,
a good day,
Rachel.
guys. See you,
Yes, you
Rachel.
too.
Unfinished business, joint resolutions, resolution 241, 2022. Be it resolved that the joint committee agreed to close the Carberry Transfer Station at 5 p.m. on November 25th to allow staff to attend the Christmas party. Can we have a mover, please?
Grant.
You got a mover and a second
Yeah.
there? Any questions on
I
that?
can just elaborate on this if you'd like. So we have a joint committee that we have with the town of Carberry. This was a resolution passed at that committee level. Normally they just get brought to our council table, so we pass them here. So that was a understanding from that committee, which it makes sense, but if anybody has questions, just ask. But that's why I have them underneath the unfinished business. It's all joint resolutions that come up in that committee.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. Resolution 242, 2022, be it resolved that the council hire Kelly Sudak as manager of leisure services effective November 28, 2022, with terms set out in the employment agreement. And further be it resolved that the cost be shared 50-50 between the town of Carberry and the municipality of North Cypress-Langford. A mover, please. McComer, seconder. Harold?
So just to elaborate on this position, so manager of leisure services is what we call our rec programmer position. So that position is at the rink, the office there. So she looks after the bookings and such for the community center, the hall, and then we have our old town hall is what I call it. But that space in the basement there, we have, when did we reno that? I'm trying to think. Like 5 years ago?
8 years ago.
Was that long ago?
Yeah,
It
at
has to
least,
be.
yeah.
So we have organizations that would just book that space, so it is an owned facility by the municipality of the town. So she looks after that, and then as well like programming for recreation, that sort of thing. So, and this position has been a very hard position to fill. It's been a rotating. For some reason, we've had a lot of turnover in this position. Callie is a local person, so hopefully she does well. And yeah, so just kind of giving you a little bit of a background on that.
What relation is she to Mike Sudak?
That's his wife. Yes. So this position, Grady and I did interviews, and I mean, there was some other applications in, but they just didn't see fit. There was some from Ontario, there was some from like just areas that weren't local, and sometimes it's best when you have somebody local just to give them a shot. So, right. So, yeah, Grady and I kind of decided that this would be best, and we'll see going forward how she looks.
Carrie's job.
Sorry?
Was that Carrie Burns?
It's Kara, yeah, Kara, yeah, it's her old position, that's right, yeah.
And that's Kelly Fraser, Maiden?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
There's a lot to that job at the rink,
Lots. Yeah.
lots to it.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor, we have a mover and a seconder. Any more comments? All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you very much. General business, appointment of deputy reeve. Resolution 243, 2022, be it resolved that council appoint Dallas Olmsted as deputy reeve for the council term 2022 to 2025. Have a mover, please.
Malcolm.
Malcolm, seconder.
Davidson.
Darren? Any questions, discussion?
You wanna do it?
Yeah, absolutely.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. Congratulations, Dallas.
Thank you.
Sprayer legal,
Our favorite topic.
sprayer legal matter. Resolution 244, 2022, be it resolved the council rescind resolution 232, 2022 from council's special meeting on November 1st, 2022. We have a mover,
Grant.
Grant, seconder, Olmsted.
I will just elaborate on this. We had the resolution from the special meeting, your very first meeting that we had. So we will just rescind that as some discussions have come about since then. So once you pass this resolution, that one is no longer in place, and then going forward, there's a new resolution on the table for that matter. So.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. Resolution 245, 2022, be it resolved that council agree to settle the legal matter with Setter Manufacturing in the amount of $73,500 set out in the mutual release. We have a mover, please. Robbie, seconder.
Grant.
Yeah.
And
Questions on that? Do you need any explanation, Robbie?
Did we find money to pay it?
yes,
Okay.
we will be, yes.
Second one, should we have including tax behind the 73.5?
There is no taxes.
Oh,
It's-
so that's changed since then?
That's everything in, there's no,
Okay.
it's not a taxable amount, like, well, sorry, yes, it includes taxes.
Okay.
Is that,
I
yeah.
just wondered if
That's
we
right.
put that at all inclusive.
Yes.
Rob, you don't remember when I said that you were kind of
Yes.
slow?
No, I know, but I'm just wondering if it should be
Yeah.
in a resolution.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, it does, and in the,
It was in the release that was.
mutual release,
Okay.
with the lawyers, it does
Okay.
indicate that, Robbie, yeah,
Okay.
so that's, yeah, so that's a good question, yeah.
Just wondering if,
Yeah, and we can put it in the resolution if you'd like,
well, it just goes public, right?
yeah,
So,
Yeah,
But the
that makes
release
it the price cheaper.
stated it anyway.
yeah,
Yeah.
like I
Yeah,
have,
let's put it in the resolution, I like that.
sure, yeah.
Which includes taxes in.
I'll just put that, like
all
include,
inclusive or includes taxes or whatever.
yeah, I just put including
Okay,
taxes
yeah.
as set out in the mutual, is that okay?
Mover and
Yeah.
seconder,
Maybe
okay
I'll
with
put
that?
applicable, sorry. Whoop, whoop, my,
It's kind of unfortunate it came to this, but I think it's the easiest way
I
to
think
settle it.
it's,
We couldn't give that sprayer back, and he just hammers most often.
It would be double that.
Yeah.
Any more questions on that? Thanks, Robbie. All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you.
holy. 11 years.
Drainage application, Friesen. Resolution 246, 2022, be it resolved that council approve the proposed drainage project at northeast 251213 WPM for Peter Friesen. We have a mover?
Anybody know about it?
I'm gonna just elaborate on it.
Yeah,
I'll
move.
move it.
Mover and seconder? Malcolm? Any questions on this?
Yeah, well, I'm sure you do have questions. I did circulate this out, or I just send so many things out to you guys, I feel bad, but, so this is a application from Peter Friesen, so he is, I usually show you what the map where he is, because it's easiest that way. So he is Adrian's, where's Adrian? Hold on, he's on the very edge of our,
There's 12.
what did I say, 12?
25, 12, 13. Sorry, my
25.
bad.
No, it's okay. 25,
Right on the
so,
eastern edge.
we're here, okay.
Yeah.
So, northeast, oh, well, he's not even in there. I know his.
But
This was for tile
It's the
drainage?
drain.
It's the drainage, yeah, so I think he's on, so he is on North Norfolk side as well, like his,
Yeah.
it borders, where's 25? Here. So what happened was it 2 years ago, there was a tile drainage application in
Yeah,
for Birch Grove Farms?
yeah, the drains of this down, right?
Yeah, it drains to the corner.
Drains
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
corner. So, when we approved the tile drainage, what happened was with all the moisture that was received last year, the snow and whatever else, it affected Mr. Friesen's, property.
Yeah.
So it's not, and it's in our ditch right now, so he's trying to get the water flowing and getting it going.
Didn't we have in that,
Well, we indicated that, so I've been in discussions with the province and like, so the permit, application process through the drainage,
Yeah.
through, I forget what it's called, conservation and climate, I believe.
Mhm.
And, so they, basically see it as, it's not our responsibility, it will be, like, I think it's Birch Grove Farms.
Right.
it's pretty cool, yeah.
So, so basically, the way it works is, because Birch Grove Farms application was approved, they have to just now discuss, the province has to discuss with Birch Grove how this all kind of flows
And how they're gonna remediate it for us.
Yes, so hopefully,
And I think that what part of the reason it changed too, like where the ditch that was kind of flowing through down towards, it was pasture.
right,
And now he's broke it up and trying to crop it, and the water was sitting in a spot, and
Right.
usually last year didn't, year
Yes.
before didn't really bother anybody. Now that it's cropped, or potentially wants to be, the sitting water is more of an issue.
yeah. So, I don't see any issues with what Mr. Friesen is proposing,
Right.
nor, so, and then backing up a little bit, drainage, we had a committee set aside for drainage, so it'd be appointed council members that would look at this. Normally, this came to the table before we appoint committee members, but normally I circulate this within that committee and then they bring it to the table. But, like I said before, I have got comments back from the government on this as well, and they don't see any issues with it. Matt has looked at this as well, he doesn't see any issues with it, but again.
Well, the drainage point for this project looks like it's the natural drainage.
It
point
is
for the
natural
quarry.
drainage, yes, that's right, yes, so,
So when Spruce Grove got the permit, did the government not look at all these issues?
they,
2 issues?
they do, yeah, they,
What occurred was the previous permit that was issued that is adjoining to this quarter section. It came to the table, Harold and I looked at it, and these Spruce,
Birch Grove.
Birch Grove
Yeah.
put in an application to tile drain 2 quarters. Now, one of them was going up on the west side of the quarter, following the natural drainage path through the trees. The other one drawing the southern end to our municipal ditch via pump out. Harold had the idea and was to add on a clause that if any issue due to the drainage would be, any remediation required would be the responsibility of the applicant.
Yeah.
So
Which is Spruce.
Which is Birch Grove.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
it's okay.
So now this gentleman's being affected by that drainage
Right.
as well, but he wants to break it up. He sees the other stuff busted up and work now.
Trying to get it.
He's trying to do a similar thing.
Mhm.
But, yeah, there is an issue that Birch Grove is still trying to remediate where it comes out at the middle of the section on the eastern side, where
And,
the pump out is.
when Birch Grove applied for this, so you obviously in the letterhead, they're Precision, so they're a representative that puts the applications through for them. So, I was in discussions with them about Birch Grove a while back, and somewhere, and I've got lots of correspondence, but somewhere through the cracks, they feel that maybe it won't be their responsibility to clean this out, but I do have it right in
No,
stone
we
that
made
it's
sure
there,
that
and I've
was-
talked to the
It should be
province.
part of their license too.
It, yeah, it is, that's right, so,
But we wanted to make sure that clause was in there so it was blatantly obvious.
yeah, cause, Norfolk has had some issues with this as well, and what happened with them is they cleaned up the ditches and paid for it on their own, and I'm trying not to make that a burden for us, because I don't think it is a responsibility.
Moving forward, we don't
Or-
want to be fixing other people's mistakes.
That's right,
You don't
yeah,
want to
so,
hurt case of that.
like I said, I'm still talking about Birch Grove, and I think Mr. Friesen just wants this kinda dealt with, so, I don't have any issues with it, but, so, the
Matt's
way.
good with it.
Yeah, Matt has, met with Mr. Friesen and discussed it,
We don't
the-
need to upgrade the pipe or anything like that.
no. The process has changed a little bit. Normally the province would get these directly, and now it all falls on the municipalities to approve it. I don't know, everything falls on us now, so.
They have to get permits.
Yeah, so once we give approval for this, then I give the information to the government, and then they get
I
the,
mean, like a development permit through our planning district.
I
No?
don't think
Okay,
so,
Just a
no,
question.
yeah. There's nothing really being developed
No, I
per
just thought
se,
some
but
places are making them because it's developing the land.
that,
but-
I guess that makes sense, yeah.
And it's not a particularly huge project in the ditch when you look at it, just the basic, that the ditch itself, there's a little hump in the middle where it's sitting and pushing back, just to clear out the ditch.
But on the other hand, our ditch was not made for drainage.
No.
Our ditch is a byproduct of building the road.
Yeah.
The natural drainage is out through their fields, so as
Yeah,
long as
unless
they're dealing
it's
with it on their own property,
designated drain, it's just a ditch.
That's right.
it's just a
Yeah.
ditch, yeah.
Was there any issues with White Bed on this?
So the,
It won't go to there till after this meeting.
yeah, so I was gonna say, once we approve, or once we give our our say, and then it goes through the process with the government, and then it goes through the channels where it needs to be for the White Mud, or the watershed districts, so.
That seems quite easy compared to the problems that it could cause. Just like that tile job, right? Like-
Yeah,
And then so you get all that water that used to probably lay around and that, now you're shoving it on somebody else.
yeah,
The tile
That's
drain,
always the way it worked.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
did he not, he had approval from
Yeah,
those
no,
people
I
downstream,
totally,
yeah?
I get that, it just,
and we had the neighbor sign off on it as
Yeah.
well, because he had a dugout adjacent to the tile drainage, so it's gonna lower your water table level, so we made sure the neighbor signed off on it with permission to the project as well. And tile drainage does have benefits.
Absolutely.
It acts as a
Yep.
battery for 2-3 days, so that water doesn't immediately flow off into the water, or into the
Any
street.
more questions on this?
right beside it.
That's exactly it. And that's on, where this gentleman's doing the drainage now, he's the one who has the dugout.
yeah, that's right.
All right.
Any more questions, comments? All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. Committee appointments, resolution 247, 2022, be it resolved that council approve the following board and committee appointments. They're in front of you there. Okay, you have, you read out. Person. Go ahead.
That's okay, yeah, so you've got your personnel committee, Ray Grayson, Dallas Olmsted, and Grant Jardine. Finance, Ray Grayson, Robbie Van Comer, and Grant Jardine, Rob Van Comer.
sorry.
Protective Services, Rob Van Comer, and that's just for the Carberry North Cypress-Langford Fire Department. Malcolm Murray, the Nipowa Fire. Transportation Services, so that would be your Public Works. Ray Drayson, Rob Van Comer, and Harold Tolton. Municipal Buildings, we have Grant Jardine and Jerron Davidson, so the municipal buildings is our joint buildings that we own with the town of Carberry. So that would be just upkeep and maintenance, that sort of thing, that's that committee. Waste Management, Ray Drayson and Grant Jardine, so the waste management is for our Carberry transfer station with the town. So that regulates just that specific one, and then we have our Fairview and our Langford station as well, so that would be that committee. Evergreen, that's Ray Drayson and Gerard, that's our waste system just by Franklin there. Archives, Harold Tolton and Grant Jardine. Arts Council, Dallas Olmsted and Harold Tolton. Cemetery, that would be our Carberry Cemetery, so that's Rob Van Comer, and then we have Bob Adrianson as our citizen rep. Library, Dallas Olmsted, because she likes reading a lot. Museum, Jerron Davidson and Harold Tolton. Handyman Seniors, Dallas Olmsted and Grant Jardine, so the handyman would be just our Carberry Service for Seniors operation there. The Nipowa handyman is Ray Drayson and Malcolm Murray. Health Action is the Health Action Committee for the Carberry Hospital here. So Bob, oh, I got Bob on here, that's not right, sorry.
He's staying on probably.
He's staying on.
Oh, is that
Yep.
what I'm sorry, I'll just change that.
It's one of the little passions.
And Harold as well. Cypress Planning District, so for the Planning District, Ray Drayson and Grant Jardine. NADCO, so Malcolm Murray, and I have Pam Sumner as the citizen rep. So NADCO is our, oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
me on that one.
do I don't have you on there? I'm sorry.
Malcolm's back up to me for their.
Okay, I'll just do that.
citizen rep.
Okay, does that look right? Ray Drayson and Malcolm Murray, okay. So yeah, NADCO is our, medical.
Nicola Area Development Corporation.
Thank you. Health, I have health action on here twice, sorry, that's my fault, I'm gonna take this right out. There's too many committees, everybody, okay? Let's just do this quick.
So that's not okay, I'm off that.
I'm sorry, Rob, yeah.
No, that's
So now, yeah, you,
quite okay.
I'm gonna put arrows, right, is that what I was doing here?
I'm gonna have to back you up. I can't sit on the museum board because of history between myself and my family with the museum. It would be best I not be on it.
Okay, I'll go through these here and then I'm gonna highlight that one.
We still take part with the county court building in Equal?
Yeah, so, there's never been a committee for that per se, like we never really had.
Don't have any
We
meeting
kind of
anymore?
know,
Correspondence and
There's
everything.
one
They'll
over there,
do that maybe, if they got something to do, but
we, so what's gone on in the past, so the county court building, just so you all are aware, it used to be, well, it's still a building where the Arm of Rosedale is in, and
Yep.
it's jointly owned, how many is this?
Neepawa, Rosedale.
Neepawa, Rosedale.
is where-
Yes.
for them.
So we, Rosedale pays rent, for using that as well, so we bill that on a quarterly basis. But yeah, there used to be a committee
Yeah, I
for,
used to be on that.
for that,
That's
yeah.
probably the last meeting they ever had.
Yeah, so yeah, so no, there, yeah, just so you know what a county court building is, I'm talking about it. Where did I leave off? Neepawa Vet Board, Malcolm Murray and Harold Tolton as backup, joint committee, Ray Drayson, Dallas Olmsted, and Grant Jardine, so the joint committee would be with the town of Carberry. And then we get to our parks, recreation, and halls. So the Carberry Community Center, we've got Dallas Olmsted and Rob Van Comer. Are you a citizen rep on there right now?
Yes.
Yeah. So we will have to find someone to be a citizen rep for that, right? Because we don't have,
For now, I have to stay on that board for now.
yeah, but you'll, I mean,
Yeah, like I could,
and that's
I mean,
okay until we,
what, do you want us, I mean, we want to,
Leave Robbie as a citizen, put Harold down there on the rec committee then, see if he wants to come off of the museum one.
sure.
And then Robbie can still be the citizen rep.
I can, yeah.
Because yeah, there's usually two of us counselors anyways, right? So I'm totally happy staying as, and then,
Can I not, well, I guess I can't do both, can I?
Nope. Wear one hat.
Well, you know what, leave me as a rep, leave me as the council rep, and they can find somebody new input.
Okay.
Okay,
That makes sense.
I have things to say, but unfortunately, we have to be in camera.
okay, so we'll just have to find a citizen rep, is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, Brookdale Oberon Rec District, so Gerard Davidson. Edrins Recreation District, Dallas. Wellwood Recreation District, Malcolm Murray. Langford Recreation District, Ray Drayson. White Mud Watershed, so there's 4 sub-districts, so sub-district 37 Squirrel Creek would be Rob Van Comer. Sub-district 38 Pine Creek is Dallas Olmsted. Sub-district 39 Central White Mud is Ray Drayson. Sub-district 40 Upper White Mud is John Davidson, and Central Assiniboine Watershed is Harold. And then who's gonna move you in?
Yeah, I'll ask for a mover for those positions, please. Sharon, seconder, Harold.
So we'll go back to the museum comment. So Harold, you would like to not speak?
There's a couple of problems with the vet board and its historical issues with museum and
Okay.
the vet board, but it's not something, this is personal.
Okay, well, we'll just
Yeah.
change that around. So do you have, or would anybody have any interest in the museum? Or, so John, you'd be the main person to go to those,
Just
right?
for the museum in town?
Yeah, sorry, the
Okay.
museum in
Yeah.
town. And we'd have to have a backup for, if you couldn't make it, just a second person to go.
How many nights?
It's not very often,
Every second month,
maybe,
Well, I'm here.
yeah,
Robbie.
Robbie?
get on, yeah.
Very good partner.
What other ones did I have on here? I think that was, is that,
The vet board.
oh, sorry, the vet board. So Malcolm needs a backup for when he can't make those meetings. Who would like to, Grant? Okay. Gosh, you guys are cleaners.
Oh, I'm in.
Just wait till we get
in
going.
animals.
Ray, did I miss anything? I don't think
And transportation services, does that
So-
include our graders?
So,
or-
yeah, transportation services would be, yeah, so our public works operations, so our roads, and then any kind of, yeah, equipment. I also kind of, we had a lot of committees that we didn't
Oh, no,
necessarily
that's-
need to have, so
Yeah,
I've
gravel
combined.
kinda went in that.
Put them
Yeah,
together.
yeah, so just so you newer ones are familiar, we used to have a drainage thing like I was speaking about, but that kind of relates to public works and it falls under that kind of category as well. So I've combined that so that it can just not have all these little committee meetings. And it, under our bylaw for committees, we didn't technically have a drainage committee set up under that, so. But yeah, so that would be reviewing like any kind of road projects and Matt will come and discuss, you know, road issues and then equipment issues and, yeah.
I can't get along, but would you mind someone tags along to that once in a
Yeah.
while?
And yeah, so
Same thing as last
I was
time?
gonna indicate, any of these meetings, like, you guys are all designated to these committees. You can come to them.
Yep.
You don't have to, you know, you're all invited to them, it's just, there are designated council members that would just come and sit on it, and I will let you know when those meetings are, I'll let everybody know. If you can come, that's fine, if not,
Yeah.
it is what it is. And I understand that sometimes, you know, you have other commitments and you can't make it, and then you have a backup, just let me know ahead of time kind of thing, but. And I will issue you, like, so for example, the watershed, I will let you know of the information on when those meetings will be. The Parks and Recreation ones, so like the Brookdale, Edrins, that sort of thing, they will normally reach out to me and then I will let you know, or if you've already been a committee member on there for a while, they will just reach out to you individually, but I will set you up on those and I'll advise those committees of who's on what, and then give them your contact information, and then they will just disperse accordingly, so.
I was just wondering about creating another committee that's not. We used to have what was called an economic development officer with the town, and yeah, that didn't work out.
Yeah.
That's something I think should be on our level. I would like to see counselors named to an economic development committee.
So I've refined and looked at our bylaws and whatnot, so we don't have an economic committee. Is that like established?
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying.
So yeah,
Could
that
be
is a
established one.
suggestion that I could, yeah, and if you want, you could tag that on here, or,
That's not a bad idea though, Harold, yeah.
Yeah, that was there at the start of our term, right?
Especially when we have a economic development board in Brandon offering us to.
Yeah, offering services to help
Yeah.
us, right?
yeah. So, yeah, like I
Oh,
can,
that's awesome.
I can appoint members to that, and then, like, I was gonna let you know after the fact, but you have a organizational bylaw and procedures bylaw, so that sets out all your committees, everything with that, so I would add the economic development as a committee to that bylaw, just since it's not.
Would you like to go on that, Harold?
Yeah.
Okay,
And Dallas?
Yeah, we were on there
yeah,
last time, and
That was
yeah, you
good.
were too.
do you
That was
want
good.
3, or do you want?
3 would work, more the merrier.
Yeah,
Sure.
I like that idea.
Right.
And Malcolm,
No,
Put my name down
no,
on
thank
that,
you, I
too.
mean, sorry. I
okay,
was just interested in the planning district.
Yeah,
That was kind of
oh,
like,
Wow.
but grandson, so that's okay.
If you wanna add my name to the transportation services, it's up to you. The boss
Pardon me?
here. If you wanted to add my name as a backup to the transportation services, I'll try to get as many of those as I possibly can.
Well, we'll leave the 3 and the rest is can come anytime.
yeah, like
I'm fine with that?
I was gonna say, like,
Yep, yep,
like I
you're
said
all welcome
before,
to come to
yes.
that.
okay, so, that looks,
Yep.
Mr. Chair, good, Kate?
Mover and seconder with good. with
Yeah,
some
we're
of those
good, we
changes
got a mover
there
and
then?
seconder, yeah.
Am I still on the vet board?
No.
Grant is-
Okay.
You dropped 2, got 1 back, so.
Okay.
Any more questions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much, everybody. Screen gravel, resolution 248, 2022, be it resolved that council purchase 10,000 yards of screen gravel from P. Baker Backhoe at $1.50 per yard. We have a mover, please? Seconder,
I can elaborate on this one.
talk a
So-
little bit, yep.
Yeah, I need some water now. In our flood of 2020, is that 2 years? Yeah.
Now, that was-
So we had, so I'll give you a little bit of a background. So we've got our gravel pit contract, so all of our crushed gravel comes from Parrot Pit, which is crushed and hauled out to 3 different locations in our municipality. So we've got Mentmore, we've got our Langford Pit, which is just, yeah, I was getting to
Oh,
that.
the old Langford pit,
Yeah.
west of
What do we,
2 miles.
yeah, so, anyway, that specific pit, like, so the one where we get it crushed at the Parrot Pit, we have, like I said, stockpiles for this gravel. We didn't have any screen gravel, so we did have a little bit for the flood for 2020, but we used a lot of it for fixing up our roads and whatnot, so we don't have an inventory for screen gravel there right now. And we did talk to Mr. Parrott because he is our normal fellow that we get we're contracted with Mr. Parrott for 4 years actually for crushed gravel. He charged $1 per yard to do this. Matt had approached him as well as myself to ask how much he would charge for the gravel, and it was way overpriced. It was, I think, it ended up being $4 a yard.
Yeah.
So, long and the short, as much as we value our contract with Mr. Parrott, we've sourced it out, and Pat Baker has a pit as well, which isn't very far from Parrott Pit. He offered us $1.50 a yard, and I mean, you can't really go wrong with that. So that 10,000 yards that's screened is just to buy it from Baker, and that's it for right now. Now, as far as hauling that out or whatever, Matt and I have to get a tender
That'll be another,
to issue that out to move it to our stockpile, basically. So this is just to buy the gravel from Baker for screened. We'll get Blue Star most likely. I think
to
he.
do the
Yeah.
processing of it.
I feel like gravel's hard to. Gravel is our major budget category in our municipality. I'll kind of.
Well,
I feel like I'm-
transporting.
Yeah, I feel like I'm
gravel is-
kind of talking too much, but, so basically, our gravel, like, is contracted. We, at the time of, I think it was at the last term, we had decided that we'd do a contract for our hauling and our crushed, consistently as when new council came on, so those contracts will be renewed in 2023. So like I said before, we've got our northern half of our municipality, which is contracted, Pat Baker hauls, Blue Star Construction crushes for us. And then we have our Douglas pit, which Blue Star crushes there, and then Ray Mitchell hauls for us. And then we have a stockpile at the Carberry yard here, and we just have our stockpile in the Douglas pit. So it all kind of intervenes, but the flooding did affect the screening up north, so we do have to have that. It's very key to have to our roads. It's very good gravel, so.
Just a silly
Yeah.
question, the 10,000 yards, is that 10,000 yards of screen gravel plus the 1 to 2,000 yards of stone? Or is it 10,000
It's
yards?
everything.
That's the product.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's the
Yeah.
whole project.
yes, and
So
maybe I
it'll be
should have,
split down, we'll have 9,000 and 1,000,
Yeah.
whatever it works out to.
yes, yeah,
Just checking.
yeah, so,
That's it, with gravel, you've probably got 4 or 5 different commodities of gravel. And everybody around here will have a different opinion of what is screened, what's rock, what's crushed, what's pit run.
yeah, our crushed is
Yeah.
what we mainly have stockpiled and what we use for our gravel roads.
But
But
this
the screened-
10,000 is of product, total
Yeah.
product of everything.
Yeah, do you want me to maybe change that and add that in there?
No,
I
it's
know that,
okay.
and I'll have a contract with Baker and that'll
I
indicate.
just wanted to bring it up for the.
Yeah, no, that's good, yeah, like I said, I feel like I'm talking a lot, but, and
No,
if
you're
it's
good.
too much, just ask, that's fine. But,
Any more questions on that then? All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. Unisoft website contract, resolution 249, 2022. Be it resolved, the council enter into a 4-year contract with Unisoft Limited in regards to a website system at a cost of $6,995 annually plus taxes. Have a mover, please. Malcolm seconder. Harold?
I can elaborate on this. So currently, we have a website that is paid jointly with the town of Carberry and ourselves. It's kind of come to light that in the past, with past council that, and even myself, that a joint website might not be very user-friendly for a lot of people. It's very confusing. I've had a lot of feedback on the website saying, you know, that, you know, I go, because I don't know if you've been on our own website, actually I can show you just to. It is, yeah, because you know, when you,
We are our own municipality, and it's time to have our own identity.
And we did make some
yeah,
comments to the website people about some stuff for us, and nothing was ever really
so the
changed.
domain even, like, you know, you type in www.townofcarberry.com and it brings up both of us. So we have a new domain now, it's myncl.ca, so we'll have our own domain. So as you can see, it kind of, you know, comes in and there's North Cypress-Langford, Town of Carberry, and then like our community services, that sort of thing. So if you click, like, for example, the town, this brings up everything for the town. And then if you click North Cypress-Langford, it brings up all of our information here. What the confusing part about it is people think that we are
Joint.
together. And we're not, we're two separate entities. So if somebody's new coming to town and they, oh, I want to find out some information about North Cypress-Langford, they're gonna say, well, what the heck is, like, they're not gonna understand. So it's just some more clarity for both. And like the town agrees as well. I talked to Grady, he's actually looking at another website too. Unfortunately, right now, we're in a contract with Munisite, with the town until April of 2023, which we've paid and it's kind of set in stone right now. After April, and they are developing a new site for us. You guys will have feedback on that. We'll have a demo that they're gonna show us, and then you guys can provide input back. But the contract itself, this is just to get the website set up and get it going, and we can make tweaks and changes to it as we go, kind of thing. So just a little history on that, because it's a very confusing website when you go on there. It's not very clear. And then even for us, like when we put our minutes in and whatnot, there's just way too much filtering to do, and it should be simple. It should just be like, okay, where are the minutes? They're in here, you know, that sort of thing. So, yeah, so anyway, that's just a big change for us, and like I said, we're in a contract right now with Munisite with the town, but they are going with another site, and we'll have our own domain, so it'll say not Town of Carberry anymore, it'll say myncl.ca, and yeah, so. Okay.
Anybody got any more questions for Trish on that?
Is the town gonna use the same company?
They're using, Grady
All
told me.
I'm asking, is it cheaper if we both use the same domain? Or the same company to build these two sites?
And
Not
was this
likely.
tendered?
Pardon?
Was this tendered?
Well, so because Munisite's done our website before, and we do like the design of it.
Right.
And a lot of municipalities have Munisite, and that's basically the main one that they have been using is Munisite. It used to be called AllNet, but they bought it out now. So it is a main municipal website that people
So
are
is
familiar
that
with.
from Winnipeg, can you say?
They are out of Saskatchewan, I believe. Yeah, but I mean, I can look at other sources
I believe
too.
we tendered it first.
We did, we tendered it the first time, yeah.
Okay.
But we're happy with their.
But I
service
do
and
like the
everything.
design of it, it's just the unfortunate part is it's
Busy.
too busy, it's too busy. So
It just seems to me that that's quite a fee for.
it's very, yeah. I can source out other ones if you'd like.
No, I'm just making
no,
this
that's-
suggestion.
Sure, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
no, I just think that that's quite an annual fee.
Yeah, and when you think about it, like our website is our main source to get information out. I mean, we have our Facebook.
Yeah.
If
Advertising isn't cheap, I know.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said before, a lot of people like they go to Google and they look up North Cypress-Langford, and that's how people research
Find out.
nowadays, right? So,
Is that fee to make the new site?
everything.
So that's everything over 4 years is
Yeah,
28
all in
grand?
here. That includes
that's
like
everything in
training for
maintenance?
us, maintenance,
Okay.
that sort of thing. Yeah, it's all included in that.
Still a little steep, but I mean, it's still.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's still, okay. I mean, it's a proven product, right?
It is, yeah.
That really hasn't really gone up much this last.
So I was gonna say, this is
It
the
really
fee that we
hasn't.
paid with the town, but we just split it,
Yeah.
right? So now we're just
Okay, no,
have the whole cost on our, and so,
Any more
Yeah.
comments, concerns then? All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you.
Trish, can I just get 30 seconds to change my battery?
Yes, for sure, thanks.
Take a break for
Progress.
Alright.
NCL Employment 2022 Pay Rates, Resolution 250 of 2022. Be it resolved that council has reviewed and approved the 2022 municipal employee rates. We have a mover to get this on the floor. Rob, seconder. Grant.
What is the
You
code?
wanna explain what we got here, Trish?
Yeah, so, did I email you about this? I think I did. No, I did? Yes,
Yeah.
okay. So for us office staff, our wages approved by a resolution from council. So basically, and I don't know if I can share this with you, I can pass it, I sent it in the email though, right?
Yes, you did.
So yeah, basically why I needed to do this is because the auditors need council to just make sure that it's all set in stone. We have reviewed it, like I said, Teresa, myself, and Nellie, and Dan Parker. So Dan Parker is our nuisance grounds operator. So all of our wages are set out by a resolution for council. So in that resolution it states, and I have a contract with council. The other staff is resolution. So my contract does renew at the end of this year. So we will have a personnel meeting to discuss payment, wages and whatnot, probably shortly. So like I said, you guys are all appointed to different committees, so that personnel committee will review all of our rates anyway. This is just, and then the union, so Public Works is unionized, so their contract, the contract states how much they get paid and how much COLA is, that sort of thing, so it's all laid out in that union contract. So their contract also renews at the end of this year. We haven't had negotiations yet, they haven't reached out to us, which I find very odd. Because I think it's normally November, right?
Yeah, it's before long anyway.
They do have a new union rep, so it might be a little bit yet, but, so like I said, that'll be negotiations.
That was, who was on?
I think it's- Yeah, but anyway, so this is just an overview of what we all make, what we have for holidays, that sort of thing. So you guys did all get that in an email. It's just to approve it for the auditor's sake. And like I said, we will have a personnel review for everyone shortly. We can go over that too. But yeah, the union negotiations takes a little while for the Public Works, so we usually have the personnel committee meet with the union and the union rep, and then we discuss wages that way, so. Yeah,
Okay,
does
any
that make
more
sense?
questions on that? You emailed it all out, it was quite straightforward there, so.
Yeah.
We have a mover and a seconder, all in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. Signing authority, resolution 251, 2022, be it resolved that council authorize Ray Drayson and Dallas Olmsted signing authority on all municipal banking accounts with Westover Credit Union and any two to sign. And further be it resolved that Robert Adrianson be removed from the signing authority on all municipal banking accounts with Westover Credit Union. Can I have a mover, please?
Grant.
Seconder? Robbie? Any questions on that?
Just to get everybody set normally, the
That's
read and
normal,
the,
yep.
yeah.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. Nothing added to the agenda.
Did I miss something? Okay, you go ahead, I missed that.
Okay. I did reach out to Trish here last week and ask
My
him.
bad.
No, it's okay. I'm just, I've had in my ward this ongoing with Rod McLaren and everything going on with the Crown land, the quadding, and now there's another situation arising out at Camp Hughes with him. I'm just wondering what the old council, where they stood on everything going on, moving forward. Because I know that, I believe there was it was passed, he put a gate in. The other day I talked to him there, I just happened to go up over the high crossing to see what this pile of
Yeah.
stuff he dumped, and he's there putting a gate in. And he wanted to give me the password or the, I said, absolutely not.
No,
I said, I'm not taking that.
No.
I said, if people get in here, it's gonna be nothing to do with me,
right?
absolutely. So I'm just wondering where we are with this, like, where does last council stand? Because this came from you guys last time.
Access to Crown land, is that the issue?
Well, there's crown land,
His
there's
goes
private
on his
land.
own private land there
Yeah.
where he put the stop, and he has every right to
Yeah.
put that there to stop, well, a fence or something, yes.
So he's got people crossing his land.
Going, the way I understand it, the road allowance comes across and then it veers off the road allowance into his land.
It's
And
not
then there's
the road,
crown,
Yeah, it's just into his
Yes.
land, yeah.
and then there's crown land at the south end up against the hydro line, and then there's another ratepayer that's having issues at that end, Jeff Straight, right?
Yeah.
So, I just happened to be with the, Miles from Crown Lands last week, and he was talking to me about some of these things, and he, like, I have my beliefs on what should happen in that and what,
Yeah.
but I just need to know what you guys decided
Well,
last year.
We were still waiting on a reply back from Crown Lands, were we not?
Yeah, you got further than we did.
West
Yeah,
Main
it's-
ATV Club?
Oh, really?
We didn't really have much response
Yeah,
at
like
all.
Rachel had, or sorry, Cypress Planning had that open
We
house,
had an open house.
Oh.
for feedback
That's what
from,
that was
That was a
about.
couple
Yeah.
months
Yeah.
ago, yeah.
yeah,
And then they get come.
yeah. So after that open house, Rachel, got a list of who attended and then basically was gonna follow up with, because she got like emails and phone numbers
Yeah.
for everybody.
Yeah.
And she was gonna be in discussion with Crown Lands, and the government agencies that kind of approved this permitting process for the trail that was going through. So I think what's happening is there's a staffing issue, like the Crown Lands,
They're
the
changing.
representative that is,
He just knew now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so she was going to discuss with him, like, kind of what's going on, and then she was going to update all those individuals who had concerns with the trail, like, and just kind of keep them all in the loop. But I have not heard anything further on that,
okay.
so. But as far as council went with the trail, they're, like, it's hard because basically the trail goes out of our like, it goes into Crown, right? So it's not really
Right.
our jurisdiction. And Crown had previously approved this, I think, without consulting the
They never asked
lease.
us, they approved the trail
They
system
just
without ever
went-
bringing it to council.
But it was all on their property, basically,
Yeah.
without
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
But I mean,
They
that-
hadn't
But it
consulted
should be
like the
still
lease,
But the problem,
leases of the Crown as well, like they were.
They didn't consult Rod.
No,
Right.
nobody.
No, they didn't even reach out to,
Okay.
I don't
So
know,
that's why we had the open house, was hopefully to get Crown Lands here along with
With
being
the
like
lease
wild,
area.
and get the people that were involved here to talk about it.
Mhm.
Crown Lands never even showed.
Yeah,
So we had the open house and all it was the ATV club getting,
getting hammered.
they literally got, yeah, they got the views of the public, which was very, very upset. And
Well, the ATV club took some big flack over a fire that they were blamed on, and it wasn't their,
exactly,
they didn't start it in the first place, and some people from the fire department wouldn't stand up and acknowledge what really did go on. Yes, a fire was a bad thing, no doubt about it, quads aren't good for you either, but there comes a time you gotta speak the real truth.
Yes.
yeah.
Was that when it was,
Quads that was down in the Dean subdivision there.
So council, our opinion is just try to do damage control at this point.
okay,
And we don't even know what to say, because as you're saying, Crown Lands hasn't got back to us. They approved the trail system, they allowed Brandon ATV Club access to it. They never consulted us, they never
No.
consulted the residents. And we're stuck with the trail system, and now we got people that are mad.
okay. Because it was a day after that it was, the elections hadn't happened yet, but it was day after it was approved that us that got claimed. And I got a call.
Oh, yeah.
And he, like, okay, what are you gonna do? And I have no idea what you're talking about.
yeah,
So I need a lot more background information before I have anything to say. I said,
right,
Crown Land is open to quads. It's
That's
in my
right.
lease.
It's quad, yeah.
It's in my
public
lease.
access,
Yeah.
And we talked to Game and Fish, we talked to other people, there's no one willing to police it. Even though Crown Lands gave the permission out there for the quadding.
Right.
No one's gonna police that trail system for fences cut issues, problems, and that. So that's where the Brandon ATV Club stepped up and said, well, look, if you're a member of the club, we're gonna try to look after the trail system. If washouts or blowouts because of quad traffic occur, we're gonna try to maintain the trail.
So,
But
yeah, but the problem with this one now is you gotta get across Rod's land to get to it, correct?
I think they've changed that though now, like,
Well, did we not
There's
tell
no
them
way
they
to
had
go.
to follow the
the road allowance.
road allowance, they were not allowed in private property?
Yeah,
And then, but the road allowance isn't open,
No, it's,
no,
so yeah.
yeah,
Okay, and we're not, as a council, gonna open it for quads.
No.
That makes zero sense.
no, no.
Okay.
like the quadding community, the Westman ATV did come and made a
Ask,
proposal
yeah.
that they would maybe make a trail down there
Yeah.
at their cost, not
Right.
none of ours,
Yeah,
and go
Which would
around.
make sense.
Yeah.
But then does that keep them out of the next one down the road? That's,
yeah.
So what's happening at Jeff's end? At the south end where he is the same thing happening? They gotta get through his private land to get to the,
Nope, I don't think so.
I don't think they come that
They
far
just go
east.
through the crown, so Jeff leases from the crown, so it's
Oh.
his leased crown property that he's concerned about, I
Oh.
think.
okay.
If I'm not
And the Crown gave
mistaken.
them permission to cross that.
Yeah, the crown, like, the crown
He
didn't
was
even
leased
consult the people who are leasing this
Okay,
land.
yes.
Without even
So
like.
that's what's
So,
going on.
like at my place, at my crown land,
Yeah.
it's open. Like anybody can, you just can't camp there. You can't park a trailer there. Like you
Yeah.
can, anybody can go anywhere they want out there.
Yeah, that's right.
There's cameras, there's hunters, and I get my cows out of there early. because-
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't understand crown lands, how these guys are,
Mhm.
like, cause they've signed a lease.
Yeah,
Like,
but they should have consulted them.
They should have
Right.
consulted, yes, I agree with that point.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I would assume that's just a government glitch in there
Oh,
somewhere
yeah.
between outgoing and.
but that's why we wanted them to come, the representative
Yes.
from Crowns to come out and
Yeah.
say like, okay, this, we hear you, like, but
Okay.
it was pretty,
It's already been approved.
Yeah, and it was voluntary on like Rachel's.
yeah.
Too, like
Yeah,
she didn't have
we
to,
didn't
but
have to
has,
do
and she
anything.
is,
just
She
thought-
took-
you know, someone has to try and
Nice,
get
okay.
involved.
But we,
She
like
took
the
it upon herself to
municipality didn't
try
wanna
and-
get involved, like, I mean, we'd rather have somebody, like the planning district have it than us have
Okay.
it, and then us
I
kind
just,
of be the
Yeah,
front.
it's just
So-
amazing.
Unfortunately for the Westman ATV Club, and there's only a group of 18 or 20 of them maybe, but they put it out on Facebook and that, and then people from all of Manitoba come. Now you've got a real big issue.
yes,
Whereas maybe, you know, and they've taken it all off of that, whether it's slacked anybody off or not, but people know what's out here now,
Oh, it's-
unfortunately, but,
same thing,
Yeah.
garbage,
yep.
Yeah.
alcohol containers, it's always the same.
Yeah.
Cut fences,
But the ATV club in the other sense, if they did become established and involved, maybe they would try and police it or
Exactly.
educate a little bit. You know, it does work both sides sort of deal. And I know there's a lot of hard feelings out there.
And it's not just the ATV club, like
No,
there's
no.
other people that,
You know,
There
there's
goes
local
local
people
people.
around land where they're going cutting fences.
There's probably as many or more local people using
Yeah.
it and doing the
well,
same
and
things.
that's, I've been totally lambasted with locals
yeah,
on this
Yeah.
decision,
Sure.
and I'm going, it's private land.
yeah,
And I throw back at them, do you wanna go through your backyard, or do you wanna go into your store, or do you wanna
Yeah.
go into your garage, like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's all the same, it's your,
yeah, that's right.
I mean, okay, no, I
Yeah,
just,
cause it's so, so basically it's at a standstill until we hear further from Crown.
Yeah.
But Rachel and I mean, she's got lots going on, but I do follow up with her every 2 weeks or so to ask for an update, but they didn't have, like I said, the representative for Crown. They might have it, I think they do have a new one now.
I have
Miles.
one now.
Yeah, okay, so
do you have his number?
I don't
I'll
know.
send you his number.
Okay, so there's that, but,
Step one.
There we go.
Progress already.
so that's
At
kind
least
of,
it gets it moving a bit.
He's very open, he understands how it all happened, like,
Mhm.
from his end, and of course, I didn't know anything of this, and so,
yeah, no, so yeah, that's all, I mean,
And we asked the RCMP, was it last meeting or 2 meetings ago, we asked them like, do you have any issues with them? And they're sort of, well, they don't have any big issues with them really. They've got enough to do without worrying about quads.
I don't suppose they do any patrols.
they don't have enough staff. I actually was
Staff,
talking to them and it's a
Yeah.
staffing
Just
issue.
be asking.
they, once they get fully staffed, they said it would be nice just to, even for the skidoo trails, like to have somebody going out and checking the trails and making sure there's like.
Did they show up for that fundraiser that the?
They did.
They did, they
Yeah,
showed up
just
for it,
Blue Hills did,
which is
yeah.
good,
Oh, yeah.
you know, so, and good for them for doing it. And
If they know of an event happening, so, just so you're all aware, we have two different jurisdictions, right? So we've got Spruce Plains, detachment, which is up here, up.
Right.
Yeah,
And
Rock Hill
then
Highway
down
North.
this way is Blue Hills detachment, so they're out of Brandon. And they both cover a fairly large area, and I mean, with COVID and staff shortages everywhere, it's hard to kind of keep up, and something like patrolling would be, one of the constables said, like, it's hard to have somebody on there just on an ongoing basis.
But if they knew there was something.
But yes, if they know of an event, then like I said, Blue Hills did show up to that
That's
one.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just a
they knew
presence
about
that
it,
they're
yeah.
there, and then, you know,
Which is good.
yeah, so, but anyway, Robbie, just to sum that up, I'll follow up with Rachel too, and maybe we'll have an update of some kind.
Okay, I just called him Miles at Crown Land, so I've sent it to you.
Oh, okay.
But I'm looking for his last name, I think I have it here, but he was married to Wayne
Oh,
Blair's
yeah, got
daughter.
it.
He was married to Wayne Blair's daughter. They're separated now,
Oh, okay.
but he knows Carberry quite well, and, yeah, so.
I'm a little annoyed when you look down in the states, Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, Colorado, they refer to it as fence tampering, and it's a serious criminal offense. Why don't we have that up here?
Oh, I know. Because it doesn't have to be easy access, like we have a pasture that's like 3 miles off a main road, you have to go through the back road and a crown land and someone else's pasture to get to our pasture. And we still have random
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
cuts, like
Last
you can't
year, I
even
think we
get there.
spent 3 days separating 3 separate herds. Somebody went through on a quad and 3 separate pastures. They just got the fence and drove on through.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Just so you know, I added committee reports, I haven't, so if you look on the screen, I meant to do that last time and I forgot, I'm so sorry. So we can, I can,
Okay.
yeah, but if that's it.
I give you enough sort of background, Robbie?
Yes, sir.
Anyway, and everybody else too.
I appreciate that, thank you.
Okay, good. Committee reports then, has anybody got anything to talk about on archives?
Our first meeting is Wednesday and the time is 5:15. It sounds odd, but it's so as everybody gets off work, they can come to the meeting then.
Not a bad idea, Charlie.
It's at the old town hall,
Hey.
up in the committee room.
All right,
That's my committee.
I'll give you information about,
I thought I better say that, so that's the first meeting. So,
That's this
Thanks.
coming Wednesday?
yep, Wednesday this week.
Thanks, Harold. Arts Council,
Melanie had a chance, the art director, sorry, had a chance to go to the first actual gathering. So pre-COVID, so she had a chance to get to go to Portage, and it's kind of like equivalent to our convention, but get to actually together with a lot of peers that first time for a lot of people, so she had a really boost of excitement, and she's got a lot of things rocking. And then we still have,
well, no, it's just for joint, but I just thought
Yeah.
you had.
no, that's cool, we do have a craft sale on this coming Saturday.
Yes, that's right.
And then the tickets, I believe, are almost completely sold out, or close to, for our mystery murder in December. And, yeah, piano lesson recital December 5th, open to the public. Pretty exciting stuff. Yeah, I think that's it for now.
Could I add?
Yeah.
Exit stage left.
Good on you. Okay.
Yeah, we are having our last weekend in April. I'm trying to think of what's the dates. That's when the play is called, what was it? The Clock Strikes 1. It's a murder, it's a comedy mystery.
Clock strikes 1. All right.
Awesome.
it's an original one.
Yeah, it's quite good. We've been practicing now for 3 weeks. So
Good for you guys.
Health.
Health,
Well, I don't have an update, but.
up there, we have a new doctor in the clinic up there in April, and announcement was made for the hospital, and they're out there moving dirt as we speak, so.
2025 is when they're hoping to have her up there.
Have you been getting anything from Bob on the, what is it, the shower room they're building in Cypress? Last I heard.
He
they
gave
were-
an update last time, but like we contributed some funds to that. I have not heard anything. I don't know when the next meeting is either yet. I'm gonna reach out to him and.
Yeah, I've been a bit lax on that. I've been caught when they're, I've just been letting Bob go to meetings.
Yeah,
Pretty sure he said that funding was locked.
It's locked, yeah.
It was all available, yep.
Scotty's gave us, we gave us some money too.
Yeah.
So it's a go, yeah, that shower project, yeah.
Was that from the money from the Presbyterian church going to that, or I'll have to ask that?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I know that the foundation, us, Scotty's, I can't remember who else funded that, but there's a lot of
Yeah.
community assistance with that,
If
so.
I remember correctly, Harold, at the last joint meeting, the funds are being transferred over to Prairie Mountain Health. They had,
Yeah.
they had to contract the building, and they were looking for contractors at that point.
Mhm.
To try to
Just,
tender it out.
the unfortunate thing is they've shut down the Presbyterian church here in Carberry and they transferred the funds to Health Action Committee, so.
Oh,
That's nice.
okay, okay.
We gotta get that shower up and running, these old guys are getting older by the day, right?
Thanks, Ray. Evergreen, not too much more going on out there other than normal. Cardboard's worth nothing, so they're throwing it in the hole now. Unfortunate.
Yes, I heard about that.
Yeah, it's in your communications that you're.
They're still working on getting some, finalizing with the gasification unit. Have you heard anything about that, Robbie or Grant? They've got a unit up there, it's how to get rid of garbage by a chemical reaction.
I'm not sure if
And it'll end up, they did some tests a year ago, it's in a sea can. They did a test a year ago there, about 6,000 pounds, and ended up with 80 or 100 pounds of ashes. Is it not a good idea? I think it is. But we just
Yeah.
can't seem to get all
The government's trying to improve.
the
it.
rules and regulations figured out and how to make it work and everything, but it's being worked on anyway.
Awesome.
Like this isn't gonna take all the waste that goes there, but at least it was a pilot project to start with to prove that it could be done. And this is your benefits, and you know all about it, it's
I
something
forget when
to.
it started, but it started before this last term. I guess.
Oh, yeah, it's been
It's
over
for the last
two
two
terms.
terms, but at least
Yeah.
now they have results that proves
Yeah.
it works, which
Well,
makes
yeah.
us feel a lot better.
We finally got
After all the
something.
money we
else.
sunk into it, so.
Yeah. Anyway, other than that, that's about all for Evergreen. Fire,
Is there a meeting tomorrow, right?
yes, tomorrow morning, you can go, Ken?
Yeah,
8:30? Yep,
Okay.
at the facility there, thanks, Darren. Fire, anybody got
Fire,
anything on
they
that?
have a fireman's ball on the 3rd of December at the community hall. There's tickets available for Carberry firefighter, or that's all I know about now.
They have their meetings on Tuesday night, right?
I think so. I'll let you know, Robbie. I think, right?
I'm pretty sure it's.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I'll let you know for sure, yeah.
There's nothing from the north end usually. I've asked when the meetings are, if they want me to come several times, and they usually just don't even tell me when the meetings are.
Oh,
So I usually just hear from the CAO from Mipawah for anything
Yeah.
specific.
Okay.
But I've offered my services several times.
Well, they'll want you if they need money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they're good
Always
guys.
seem to be.
They're always there when that bell rings.
Library,
Yeah, I'm new to the board. Had our first local committee meeting a couple weeks back. And they're really invested bunch there, and nice young fun staff. And we're actually looking at we've requested permission, but to renovate a small room for kind of a kitchen and prepping room, because they're starting, now that COVID has kind of slowed, they've, or at least the restrictions have, they're trying to do bring in authors and a lot of read and teas and reading groups and kids programming. So we're trying to get a little kitchen area, so we can have kind of an up-to-code area for prepping and storage. And so we've got some, got a a price, so I don't think we're gonna bother, well, we're gonna still source out funding somehow. But, yeah, there's some excitement going on there.
Good. Museum,
Probably have another meeting, I think.
planning,
We
we
just,
had Rachel here this morning explaining what's going on, and if we can do some work on that, changing that, good idea. Seniors handyman,
Debbie's been very busy there, she's got some more shopping and excursion trips going on for the crew, and they're going over very well. Doing fairly okay for drivers now, but always still seeking if anybody wants to be driving for the handy van. And Wednesday lunches are going on, and I think that's, I don't know if I've announced, but the funding for her strike, like shade structure did finally come through after a couple of years of grant looking.
Yeah.
So, I haven't.
was that through building communities?
I think in the
right?
end, that's the one that came through,
Yeah,
so.
that's right. She
I
was,
think we got as far as concrete's poured, but there's gonna be a shade structure, kind of a small version of what's at the, end of town. And it's gonna be in between the drop-in center and Old Town Hall. So the seniors it was kind of the brainstorm through COVID that gatherings can happen easier outside and a little more comfortable with the seniors. But it'll be used for that as well as arts or whatever can use it from next door too. So that's actually happening.
north end there, we've hired a new contractor, well, he was there for 6 months, so Justin Chikolsky, they hired him to be the contractor in the Deepwater area for the handyman. And with the handyman and the Legion ladies, we put on a supper there, 3 weeks ago or so, and raised $3,600 or something for the handyman, so good ideas. Cemetery.
That's gonna be me.
yeah, they had a
Are you
meeting,
there yet?
I believe they had a meeting a couple weeks back, but, I have no update. I think it's just basically they're closing out the season, I think it went over well, I think the cemetery was maintained very well, this year. Everything went over pretty smoothly, so,
Good,
Yeah.
good comments on it, yeah.
yeah,
And Carol had a lot to do with that too.
Yeah, I did.
Good for you, thank you.
yes,
I can speak on it, but I have to speak on it as the other side.
yeah. But no, I think they did a good job of it this year, so that's good.
There is some issues coming up. It's not going to do this.
Okay, communications. Manitoba Environment Climate Recycling Rebate,
Yes.
how much we get back?
We get $7,684.61 back recycling rebate this year, which we'll put in our budget.
Every little bit helps.
Is that in line with what we usually get?
It's a bit more, I think,
Yeah.
to be honest. Yeah, actually, I feel that it seems to keep going up every year, I think. Cause obviously, like, we've kind of streamlined how we're doing our recycling now, more so, especially when we did stuff with the Langford transfer station.
It's a lot cleaner.
And we've now sorted out, our glass and whatnot, because the town of Carberry, like, everything that goes to the transfer station gets hauled out jointly from there, and so there were some issues with, like, because we get a rebate for our glass as well, right? So I think majority of the glass is coming from North Cypress-Langford, but we were ending up splitting it up with the town, and now it's kind of, we've now streamlined it a bit, so we are getting a bit more revenue in, just because that does make a big difference, right? So, but yeah, it's up a little bit from last time, so.
Should it not continue to go up?
You would think so.
As we recycle more?
Yeah, so with the recycling,
Well, the cardboard will come back,
Yeah.
like, it'll be a down, but it
With-
has to come back.
with the recycling, we provide like reports to, I can't remember what they're called, anyway, they get the reports from us and we just state out like, how much glass we had, how much recycling, that sort of thing. And then they just kind of have a calculation on what we get for those quarters. But yeah, it's going over pretty well, so that's good.
But the cardboard part there was mostly from High Life in Deepwater, so they're paying for it to be in their tipping fees now anyway, so. Other than it's filling up the cell quicker, that's all. Okay, Spruce Plains detachment, we got your quarterly report there.
Yeah,
Everybody, just sort of-
Constable Argue, and there's a new, so Mark Morehouse retired, when was that?
How long ago?
August, I think, and now his replacement is Dave Taggart.
Yeah.
So he's just kind of taking on a new role, and I've met him twice now, and they're pretty busy. They said they come in monthly and issue these reports to me and kind of give me an update. The biggest thing of like during harvest was theft, basically. It always happens that kind of year. They are coming as a delegation though for your December meeting, so you can meet them in person and they can give an update. But they do provide the quarterly reports. This is kind of sideways, but it's been pretty quiet,
Pretty quiet.
basically. So yeah.
There was a big theft there last week or a week and a half ago, out at Terry Bailey's house.
Oh yes, with the tools and stuff. That's right.
We did have a
Well,
theft from the Brookdale area too.
Oh, really?
sorry. No, Scott Builders.
That's the end of that.
Mhm.
So,
They still, I don't know if they found their little dump truck yet.
No, they haven't. I don't think.
Yeah,
It's so
like,
freaking iconic, it's gotta stand
but
out
they
somewhere.
normally have it so low in gas, like it, they don't think,
Not
they don't know
that
how
far,
far it got.
too bad.
They might find it in the spring in some slough somewhere.
Well, maybe, yeah.
Agriculture in the classroom support. Do we normally do anything with it?
It's our, yeah, so I was gonna kind of update the new council, so we
Yep.
normally just support the agriculture in the classroom, with I think it's what was it, $100 our membership fee.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of included with our grants every year, but they just, thanked us for this past support, and they're just seeking more support, so I will just do that under our, here it is, $150.
Yeah.
So, just so you all kind of are aware.
Before Curling Club brine pump. They're after a new brine pump for the ice plant and all that. That should maybe just send that to the Langford Rec Group.
Refer to Langford Rec.
I think it's around $5,000, but usually we send any of these things for improvements in NEPA, usually goes to the Langford Rec and then they deal with them.
Did they look at what the town has for extra equipment from extra supplies from the rink? They had a list of all that stuff they were putting up for sale.
I don't know if
I
they
can't
did.
remember if there's anything in there that they could have used.
Was this stuff?
Bobby Hawken is the one that usually does stuff up there, and I'm sure he's probably aware of what maybe there is, I'm not sure.
I know there's a couple $100,000 worth of parts and stuff that they were putting up for sale.
Okay.
Maybe I can,
They've already got their new pump already to
Yeah.
do, but that should be out there for people to
Yeah,
know that
right.
it's there, yeah.
I think we've advertised,
He's put it on the website.
yeah,
and
it's been there for a while,
He's had
but,
some interest.
yeah, now we might be able to get rid of it, to be
Yeah.
honest.
This stuff left over from that view.
It's from our
No, from that, yeah.
ice plant from whatever, how long ago that was, I can't remember, but
8 years ago.
we've been trying to get rid of, or sell it, but nobody seems to grab, so I think we do finally have somebody that will pay, and I can't remember, what was the offer, Robbie, do you remember?
I never
I can't remember, but I think it was more like just,
It was 50 grand.
it was a pretty good,
Yeah, it was 50 grand for whatever they were bidding on. They were $75,000 part or something.
yeah,
I think they got offered 50 grand.
which is, I think, and then I think the rec board just said, yeah, like that's.
Oh, yeah.
It was, did we have, we didn't have a say in that. did we?
Well, there's an
I
email
don't think
that,
there was a dollar number, but I think there was like a approval to sell access, right?
Yeah.
Or general,
Yeah.
right?
Just, yes,
Yeah.
approved.
General
I mean,
approval,
just
I think.
sell it, but I saw an email or something about it. And it was
Yeah.
crazy. Like I went, holy smokes.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing a dollar number, but I remember. going
that
in.
sounds good.
Evergreen cardboard recycling, I think we just touched on that.
Yeah,
Blue Hills Detachment, another quarterly report.
this
much
is
the
your
same as-
south end Blue Hills, I think I explained that before, but that makes sense, that's the Blue Hills RCMP. So they're the south of Brookdale basically area. I don't see them as often as I do Spruce Plains, I wish I had seen them a bit more, but I've expressed that to their detachment, so.
Westman Regional Library, new director.
Yeah,
That would be you.
Eric is,
Mhm.
yeah, there's like great staff in Brandon and they're just trying to be proactive and just send out a,
Welcome, hi.
a welcome and,
Good.
yeah.
Hopefully they have a little better attitude out there now.
It's actually a very positive group right now. It was kind of daunting heading in because it always was that way, but it's, no, it was a pretty good bunch.
White Mud Watershed Fall Sub-District meetings, I think.
Yeah, so I've got
everybody's aware of
your-
what's going on there.
all of them. So if you were appointed to one of these sub-districts, here's your information, but I will send more as well, just so you're all.
And for the new appointees too, like the deadline was Thursday to sign up for the gathering, right? The White Mud Convention.
Oh, that convention.
But I know there was, for anybody new, you might still be able to.
Most of these are this week, I would imagine, so.
Yeah, these are-
Oh yeah, these ones, but then that first week in December.
Yeah, that's when the convention is.
Convention is, so I know there was in that letter, like, you know, this is your last chance to sign up, but any new appointees possibly still have a chance to.
Yep.
And I'll, I'm gonna touch base with White Mud when we're done here, and
As we're done and see
yeah.
what-
Yeah.
and he can send you out the information if you still wanna. Cause
Okay.
are you going?
I did not go sign up this time, no.
Okay, anyway, I'll send that information out, a whole bunch of it, right, okay.
Nipah Chamber of Commerce Parade of Lights, Nipah Parade,
November 26th.
26th.
Big week, hey?
Yeah, it is, yeah. So we normally put in our grader, I believe, or do we put our float in?
We have
Put a
done the
float in.
float.
Put a float in,
Yeah.
so probably shoot for the 23rd or the 24th to decorate it if anyone, so that they'll know.
That's-
Week between we get home and have a staff party.
It's a full week next,
That's,
Yeah.
it is.
yeah,
It is.
yeah,
26th is what, Saturday?
yeah.
Yeah.
So even a Friday night or something.
Well,
Friday night's
staff
our
party.
staff party.
Right, staff party.
We can go there after the staff party, bring everybody with
Well, I
us.
might just bring the trailer there to the staff party.
Yeah, so
You'll
normally,
help Malcolm, Dallas,
Yeah.
anybody else, Jaren,
Yeah.
If I can.
up there, anybody
I'll-
else too, like,
I'll try to figure something out. The trailer will be at the north end shop. I'll get straw bales around it and all the
Yep.
general stuff out of the loft down here. And we
Yeah.
just need some hands setting up. It takes about an hour, hour and a half.
Nice
Just
to
make
have
sure
just
the
the
guys that
body
got
sitting
that-
on.
Kids are in
looks
4-H and
cute.
Scouts, so we have to help with theirs too, so.
Okay, that's fine.
Whatever happened to that fireplace I donated?
It's still there.
It's stored there
It's all
now.
up in the loft
Yeah.
here. I'll get all this stuff from the loft.
Well,
I'll get it up
better get
there.
ask the
we
guys
do
to
the
help.
same for
Oh, I
the
will.
Nipah parade as we do for the Carberry parade too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't be able to
When's the
help that.
Carberry one?
December 3rd.
December 3rd?
It's the same day as the Carberry, the hockey day,
Day.
and
I won't be here
Fireman's Ball, I
that,
think, is that
I
night.
won't
we'll
be
make
here.
it work.
I won't be here that day, but I can leave my truck in the keys.
Yeah.
Because usually my truck pulls it, just,
Yeah.
it's what's happened.
All right,
Cool.
Trans Canada Highway, Yellowhead, introduction, yeah.
we haven't, we
We've
used
never
to send
subscribed
like a support kind of for this, but the past few years we really haven't. Anyway, they're just introducing themselves on what they do, and if council's interested, and let me know and I can reach out to them, but we really haven't had much to do with them too much, so.
Carberry Homecoming 2022, thank you.
Yeah, sorry, it's kind of a sideways image here.
See that? We look all sideways on the picture, Raina, you know what's going on.
I did have some additional correspondence that I just got, just give me 2 seconds here. I got my, so we have, Chamber of Commerce, I'm trying to find it right here, Carberry Chamber of Commerce. So, they're doing a kickoff to Christmas type weekend, so November 30th, they're starting to do a Carberry Bucks entry draw. So they're doing businesses in the community can purchase a draw box for $25 or make a prize donation for the draw date. We're not really a business. We have a membership with the chamber. But they're seeking if we want to donate to the chamber for any sort of reason we can. There's a list of activities that they're doing here. And then there also is a list, and I'm gonna put this on Facebook, but where did my list go? Right here. So they've got it. Oh my God.
Another one, now we turn our head, oh, that one was
So
upside down.
they have a list of events that are happening. So I'm gonna I'll send that out to you all just to have, and it'll be on our Facebook and our website.
I think you did already.
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
good.
see that.
Okay, I'm way ahead of the game then. So,
Good job.
yeah, and then I did get, I think there's one more thing. Oh, and Wellwood Community Club, so they
Yes.
have,
I was added.
yeah, sorry, I just,
We just had our meeting last week, and we've completed, finally found a contractor to do a good chunk of the renos on the hockey side. Not so much that, the curling's hopefully coming yet this year, it's next year, but we found a contractor to do half the project, so they're lettering to recoup the 35,000 from their reserve that we spent on the construction this year.
which is the purpose of those reserves.
You betcha.
So that's good that they're using it. So I don't see any issues
Do we
with,
have to make a resolution or anything or not, or it's theirs anyway?
Yeah.
yeah, I do, yeah. Do you have a,
Oh, sorry, if we go back to the town one, like for the RM, for us to donate something, is that not something that we would normally do? Or do you have, like,
To
is
the
that,
Chamber of Commerce?
yeah, oh, well, for the
for the
Christmas,
kickoff
the
thing?
kickoff to Christmas, like,
Yeah.
is that something that, you know, a $50 something? I mean, is that, I don't know, is that something we do? not?
We have done
Yeah.
donations in the past, yeah, for sure, if it's something that you guys feel that
But
you would like to
The
do.
two towns now too,
Yeah.
so you gotta remember it works both ways.
Yeah,
but
so
where
we-
does it-
So we have
Absolutely,
we have a
absolutely.
membership
Yep.
with both, and we have a
Same thing,
membership with
so,
the
yeah.
Carberry Chamber and the Newport Chamber. I don't think, unless there's like a really specific thing that's going on, we don't normally
Right,
provide a donation.
right.
But we certainly, you can make a resolution if you feel, and that's fine.
Like I know up at the north end, most, we usually deal with it through the rec committee. They take their money out of there a lot of times. But where do you draw their line and how do you do it? I don't have a problem supporting them, I think it's a great idea.
I mean,
If we do
it's a
100.
small token for the amount of tax people we have in this
Yeah, I know.
municipality, you know, like, and it's,
Like if you want to make a resolution, Robbie, you certainly can.
like, I would do that.
Okay, that's fine.
What would you like for a dollar figure? Rob?
I think $50, just something with our name on it.
Okay.
But,
Yeah,
you know, and I mean, and this would go like, I mean, I don't know how you word this, but north end, middle, south end. You know, like, I mean,
I think it's
I'm
just
just
good
gonna
for us
put
to
in
do.
here-
it's PR.
Yep,
That's all it is in my eyes, is PR.
Is that okay? The council donate $50 to the Carberry Chamber of Commerce for the kickoff Christmas event?
you wanna make that motion, Robbie?
Yes, sir, please.
You have a seconder for that?
I'll second
Harold?
Okay,
Any questions, comments? You want to increase it, decrease it? All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you very much. Thanks, Rob.
Thank you,
Harold.
guys.
252. Okay. All right, so that was all, sorry, that's all I had for the adage.
That it?
Yeah, and then you'll have to do a resolution for Wellwood, just a second, I'm just gonna
Okay, yeah.
hurry up here. I know everybody's getting hungry.
Fine, it's not even
All right,
lunch
we're
yet.
still going to be out of here by 12.
Had to update everybody's names in here, that was fun. I actually got everybody's names properly this time, so that's good. And so- What was it, 35,000, right?
Should we not do the same for Neeple?
What do you mean?
For
Well,
their
they're not
Christmas
in the
event.
municipality, that's the reason.
Well, neither is Carver.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I think it goes both, like,
Yeah,
it has to go both
If
ways.
people request.
Yeah, if
but
they send a letter of
yes.
support.
If they request
When
for
they
it,
request it, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, we know now that, you know, what we've acknowledged here.
Yeah, you're right, that's right.
We did something similar before, where there was something at the fairground, or something down here at the
Yeah.
fairground. Just support both ends, as
Absolutely.
best as you can.
And small amounts of money is just your name.
Yeah.
It's just,
What we've done in the past too is a lot of places will come and they'll have an advertising spot and you'll buy a spot.
Okay, so this is, oh, are we, sorry, I was typing.
there?
Head down. Are we, okay, so here's the resolution for the
Yeah.
Wellwood, so I'll just read it out, Ray.
Oh,
Be it resolved that council approve $35,000 to be taken from the recreation reserve for the Wellwood Community Club to cover the cost of installing an overhead door at the community center. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So that'll be from the Wellwood Recreation.
Well, it's all recreation reserve, yes.
Yeah, but they have a certain
Their
number of dollars
portion
anyway.
of it.
They have money and they have over that much in.
No, that's, but we only have one main rec
Still
reserve.
a
It's
town.
not, they have tagged individually as
Okay.
Wellwood, Brookdale,
You're
Egan.
just
Okay.
taken,
I have a-
taken from their allotted funds
Yeah.
within, possibly?
No, we're okay there, yeah.
Whatever.
I'm just gonna leave it.
Is that
Just
on
leave
there?
that, we know what
So is that basis on the tax burden? Or the tax,
there are different areas,
Yeah.
where the tax,
like the Langford area goes a mile north of 353 north is all the Langford.
oh, okay.
Well, there's some jogs in there, I think, too,
Yeah.
is there not?
There's the map.
And then
Well, it's all
Wellwood has an
them,
area,
so it's-
Brookdale has an
okay.
area, Carberry.
Yeah.
Every year we budget a certain amount for recreation for our areas. So, it historical, it used to be based on like the assessment in the area.
Right,
We kind of refined it a little bit. So now what happens is every year we kind of look at what they're budgeting, right? Like what their allocation is for their budget, if they're expecting major expenses, that sort of thing. Because we budget, I think it's 500,000 for recreation in general. And then a lot of it is allocated like to the, obviously the Carberry Center, and then there's Brookdale, Edrins, Langford.
Okay.
So if they're asking their annual, the 60,000, which Wellwood does, then if they would like to use it, that's fine, or if they don't wanna
Sure.
use it, we put it in the reserve,
In reserve.
like allocation. Yeah, I'll explain it a bit more,
No,
but
that's
that's
fine.
kinda how,
A
yeah.
lot of the groups, like Wellwood including, they usually only access half and put half to the reserve every year, so they have a
Yeah.
nice chunk for.
So it kinda
their
builds
projects
up an
coming up,
interest
so-
of, but yeah, like if you see your reserve page,
There's not a special line anymore for like the 1 mil recreation or whatever, it's just.
I always thought that was
it's all at
0.85 or
large,
something.
yeah. Yeah, and I'll go over that with you in your financial plan, I'll kinda show you how we break that
I went
down.
away from that, Joe, and back to council has to review it every year.
Well, I know it's a cumbersome way of doing it.
Yeah.
We have a mover to make this motion.
I would love
That was
Okay.
seconder.
Yeah.
Grant, any questions on this? All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you.
Okay, I'll get them some cash. Okay, and that's all I have.
Okay. Around the table. Darren, we'll start with you.
I haven't really got anything at this time yet, but looking forward to the new council. It's a pretty good group so far.
Thanks, Darren. Robbie?
well, that's what I was gonna say, I mean, I've learned so much already. You know, all the different boards and that I've been on through the years, everything's a little, that's why I keep asking her, when do I ask this
That's what I'm
question, how
there
do I
for.
proceed, and learned a lot already. And I mean, I'm excited.
That's good.
Like,
Don't be afraid to ask questions.
no, I never am, I just wanna know the right protocol. Like,
That's
Yeah,
fair too.
yeah,
never be afraid to ask me.
yeah. Right on.
Harold?
Last time I went to Fairview, Bill, they had a whole pile of stuff to burn and nothing, and they couldn't burn it because the fire guards all summer had never been touched. And there was ragweeds growing around it about 6 feet high. Has anything been done correctly?
They have done
I think they dissed them not
They
too
just did
long ago. Harold.
that
Not
last
very
week.
long ago.
Yeah.
Because I was a little, when I walked in there, it was just, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I think because of the short staffing issue and I think the new turnover, they just kind of got left in the dust. So I do know that they were out doing, not the burning necessary, but they did do the fire guard. So maybe just whoever's
Yeah.
out, just check. I think Matt told me that before he left the holidays, so.
Now, the other question I have is, the day I was there, I was bringing farm garbage. There was things like old feed bags and baler twine, and I was told I couldn't put them in the garbage. But that was not household and that can't go in there.
What's not
What are we
going to-
supposed to do with the farm garbage?
I've been told it goes in the roll-off bin at that transfer station.
Mhm.
That's where
But,
if
yeah.
it's not taken care of on my own farm, it goes into the roll-off.
It's just like-
Yeah, yeah, I know, and then they
Okay.
had
It's good to know, yeah.
they had a roll-off for a time, but was there one there this last time around?
No.
No, well, not roll-off, but you can't drive up. but There was one in the back for a while, but I know Dan knew it was only there till a certain time it was gonna be gone, but I know, so if it's not in the category.
It's a rural municipality and we can't take farm
Yeah.
garbage. to
I'm
the-
gonna ask,
Check into that, Ken.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay,
That's all I got.
Good, thank you. Brad?
I've been approached already about roads for potato harvest. Upgrade, and what's the procedure when is that?
like as in like a upgrade to a road or a new road
They
or
want,
what?
a lot of potato producers want the roads up, the back roads upgraded
Okay,
for bigger machinery.
so, the procedure with that is if you get a request, let me know the road, and who it is. And then when we have our transportation services, like our meeting with the Public Works,
Right.
we'll bring that up, and look at the road, and we kinda, to back up, we're trying to get a, strat plan established. So we do have roads,
Have we read it?
I can get it, it's okay. I'm usually
This in
fast,
the
sorry,
next
Rain.
4 years, kind of.
So, we had like a, kind of a last year plan of what roads obviously we didn't get done as many as we would have liked because of the flood that happened, but
Yeah,
we
we can
did-
only do so many a year and that's
council,
not too bad.
like past council did review, we got a list from the Public Works staff, on, cause obviously they grade the roads, they understand, they have like basically what needs done and what is a priority. So we kinda laid all those out and
Yep.
we've established kind of a plan for each year on what roads we update.
Okay,
So the theory behind this is we'd like to fix roads that we have right now and maintain them and upgrade them before we start building new or upgrading new, roads.
these are secondary.
Yeah,
Machinery roads.
Machinery roads. So we have in the past, like, we have done a lot of upgrades to machinery roads. But like I said, depending on where it is, if you just send me the road information,
Yeah,
who it is, and then we can bring it up at that table and I can even go through that list. And maybe it was on a list, like for next year, like,
Would they be asking for a full upgrade or
Yeah.
just like brushing out and widening the?
well, some of the roads are completely, they were made for a 3-ton
Yeah.
truck. And now, you know, how big the
Yeah.
potato trucks are. Some are, I just talked to a few guys and basically the roads, it's the base. The base is all now full of dirt. And, you know, it's just a matter of just plowing on dirt. Maybe, I don't know if there's clay under these roads or not. But 2 years ago, when they got a major rain event, there were some ridge repairs down there just to get the potatoes off the field. So everyone, you know, wants that done. And just we're gonna change the subject now, is beavers on the main drains. It's not that long ago that we had the flood that really impacted our area. And just for example, there's on the Brookdale drain, even on Andrew Dennis's section, there's a beaver dam.
Anything that's watershed jurisdiction, I've got Camp to take a look at, and I think next week, the backhoe, or the week after that,
Yeah.
they'll be taking out the dams on the watershed section ones.
Yeah.
As far as drains through private land, that's up to the landowner, so
Right.
if they're
If it's
affecting
bothering our
a
road,
culvert or road, we can act if it's within the right of way.
Yeah, on 464, that, I don't know if you've seen. it.
Yeah, I checked it out after you
But
mentioned
that
it.
bridge is getting compromised
Yes.
because of the the water is.
I think that's where.
That's highways too, though, not
That's
ours.
highways,
Yeah, the west end of watershed jurisdiction on that drain ends at the bridge. And then from the bridge to Highway 5 again through the Hutterites' natural portion,
Right.
so.
That's just where I'm getting today, everyone's concerned
Yeah.
that maintenance isn't done on the white bud, just like it should be.
Should that bridge you said that's getting compromised, should we send a letter to highways about it?
I think they know about it.
I've
They
seen
don't
it.
really hear nothing about
Just
it.
double checking.
I think, I spoke to, I think it was the foreman for that area, and he had it on his list or whatever,
Okay.
but I haven't talked to him yet, and I know Matt was discussing that with him too, so Matt's. but-
Beavers had the water backed up where actually the white one couldn't
Yeah.
mow the drain, like it was that
Yeah.
bad.
The plan is for, I think it would be next week, if not the week after, to go up that whole portion to the west.
Mhm. Yeah, I know it all starts at the Mendoza, but,
All goes downhill.
you know,
I'll give you an example. I have a road in my, well, it's not a road, it's a turkey trail, but the two landowners have been determined for the past 6 years, like we had 5 meetings, Bob and I, with them last year. They're wanting a road put through. Well, where the road is, there's a 6-foot-high 6-foot-high fence line, and it goes into a slough. And they're determined we were gonna build a road for them to get into, because last year it was so bad they couldn't even get their crop out till about October because of that. But problem is, you can't build a road through a slough, and we're not gonna start building on, they wanted us to go on their private property. Well, no, we're not going on their private property, that's not our responsibility. I don't know if it's an ongoing issue, that road, but.
I just hear from, this is what I've been hearing, is people would like to see some upgrades on these secondary roads.
A lot of them to do with this year, we were short 2 graders for
Yeah.
probably half of the year too, so.
That's all I've been hearing, so.
Yeah, if
That
you
doesn't
just
help
wanna
matters
give me a list
Yeah,
and,
okay.
and, I was gonna say, it, I'll check it twice.
And the rest of that, you know, the secondary roads are, you know, just major holes have to be filled.
Anymore?
Lots of phone calls.
Hmm?
You'll get lots of phone calls, everybody will want that. I one time had a guy phone me up, he wanted me and the grader operator in his yard in half an hour. So,
Well, I told everybody that their concerns, that, you know, you gotta, we'll bring them forward on your behalf. If you got 5 things you want done, well, maybe we might get this one done in 2024. I've never promised anybody.
No, that's good,
That's
yeah.
good, that's the way to go, yep.
Yeah.
Need more, Grant?
No, it's,
That's good. Malcolm?
Been pretty quiet for the most part. My colorful two said there was more mowing up at the one end and we never got pictures, so other than that, it was just information. Nobody got the email
Yeah.
for info, so I just left it alone.
Okay.
Dallas?
Perfect. Just adding on what Harold said about the dump over that way. Last time I was there, it was a request just to double check that spraying happened at the time the matter.
No, I know, I've already,
Because apparently the cutting would have
Yeah.
happened sooner if the weeds were taken care of earlier, so it kind of was
I
so off.
have discussed that with
Yeah.
Gopher, so yeah.
And then, for our staff party, first of all, Robbie, are you in, or, get butterfly? 1, 2, none? For Friday, 25th?
2.
That's been put there. Okay, thanks. For the last week, I haven't actually had, certain milestones for staff appreciation happen yet. So I do have, one 15-year milestone and 2 5s. So the only ones historically that I've taken part of, 5-year is like a polo shirt or a golf shirt of some kind. 10 years is a hoodie. And I know 25 years is a watch. Any suggestions of what we do for 15 and 20 years? Because I've never had to do it, and there's no record of what used to happen. Do you remember any time on council, you two over there, that?
Trip to Vegas.
Right? Oh my
There
God.
used to be a dollar value on our
Right, but there's never been an
approximately, but-
actual record of what people went from, and
Not
then you
even in
know.
the minutes from,
Well,
But
I
if you're
was,
gonna get shirts and that, get a quality shirt.
Yeah, right,
Don't get
so,
these little pullover ones with a stamp on them, what I've saw before.
yeah.
so what
Make
was,
it a good,
the 10-year was a
decent.
watch, you said?
25 years is a
Oh.
watch, 5 years is like, you got the kind of a, we had on blue
Like a
too.
golf shirt kind of
Yeah,
thing?
kind of a choice of a polo or sleeveless golf. 10 years is like a hoodie,
Yeah.
like a zip-up hoodie. As 15 years would it be like, you know, like maybe like just like the black jacket like you girls kind of got, like that make
Sure,
sense?
that's a bit more money, yeah.
And then any suggestions for a 20-year? I don't have one this year,
What's
but
the watch worth? What do you spend
I
on the
never
watch?
had to do it.
The last person we got a watch was
Greg.
Greg.
Greg and
I can look that
Johnny.
up.
I forget
How
who
about,
it was.
I'll look, cause there was something, well, I've been
you
here for
would have it
8
in the
years,
bills
9
there,
years.
yeah.
And there was something that Sandra used to have that she used to just like
Right.
say, okay, this is what we got, but I don't even, I've
Right,
never
and
seen
that-
it.
That was never forwarded.
So you and I can
Okay,
chat.
so I am getting
We'll
one
make sure that
15
it's
and
within our
2 5s.
budget. No trips to Vegas will be handed out, unless it's for
Bull.
me.
I know before amalgamation, just going back to that there, we did sometimes, you would maybe get tickets to the weekend game or something that you.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Or
Some personal
a
interest.
20-year, I think there was a trip to a Jets game or a Moose game or something like that. Like,
Right.
it's just,
Yeah.
it's nice to reward these people with
Well,
their
exactly.
years of service and
Mhm.
And I know
Whereas
at
we
the,
do-
at the Christmas party too, like there's, the firemen are invited. So we'll be announcing them, but they get their own at
they
their
get their own.
department.
Yeah.
And then Bill Kalinowicz has, stepped up from town side to
Good.
work with me on that.
Some help.
So the only other thing, reminder that there is a splash park social
Oh, yes.
coming up.
And when is
This-
it?
This Saturday too,
Is it?
right?
Holy moly.
Yeah, so ticket sales would be appreciated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen
Not so much, I don't think, yeah.
it? Okay,
Okay, that's it for me.
It is.
you go first.
I don't have much either. We have a new game warden up in the Nepo area by the name of Ben Flipchuck. He used to be there 6 years ago. He's just started up in the Nepo area. Pardon me?
What is his name?
Ben Flipchuck.
FILIPC.
That's
on
a
my
that's an equal
curling
one.
team.
Is he?
Yes.
He's a good curler.
He's gonna be a great curler. He and curled between the two new men I picked up in Carberry. They have 15 years since combined of them having curled. So they'll get better.
I curled with Ben 6 or 8 years ago.
Yeah, no, he's
Very good.
he's good.
Good kid, yeah, sure. Good. I went to the RCMP building opening the other day. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Good turnout. This coming Friday night in Nepo, they're at the curling rink, they're having a send-off thing for Terry Ursel and her senior
Oh,
ladies
yeah.
curling. I've been asked to attend there, so I'll go to that. Anybody else, come on up.
I got something there too just now from, I don't know about it. Yeah, I gotta look at it.
Yeah, they're going to Yarmouth for the
Yeah.
Canadians, so,
Awesome.
which is really good. Other than that, just the parades in Nepo and Carberry there. Don't be afraid to help out if you can or whatever. It's really a good deal. Other than that, that's good. Thank you very much for everybody. Trish, go ahead. You got
Trish.
how many minutes?
If you're gonna be more than 4 minutes, I need to change my SD card.
Okay, I'm just gonna, I'll just,
That's a
Okay.
good idea. Have that.
Oh, don't change it yet.
Recording stopped.
That was one of the worst ones. for
even
3
at the
4
end
months.
of each month, like, I don't want to remind you, but at least I'll have them for the next meeting so that I can pay you out. Like, at least they're up to date and then you're not having to go back for like months, as some of you may have done in the past.
Let's put herself last. Oh, I should pay myself.
I'm good to go.
You're good? Okay, yeah, I'll explain a bit more too.
Go ahead.
Okay, just a second, now I gotta.
Ready, Ray?
Yeah, We're good.
Recording in progress.
Okay. So, yeah, Christmas stuff, Christmas party is November 25th at, what time?
Cocktails 5:30.
5:36. Okay. So, it'd be great if you guys could attend it at the Carberry Community Hall. Just question, we had discussed joint signage on our joint buildings, just to kind of acknowledge that it's a jointly funded facility. We have one made for the community center that's in town for the Scotties, we had it up there, so think Harold and,
Yeah, that was backing up on that one.
yeah, so I'm gonna bring it up again at the joint committee.
I
But we-
touched base last joint, and Grady said he hadn't forgotten, but they were close to finalizing
Their
their new
rebranding or
logo.
whatever, okay, I wonder
So
that.
they didn't wanna
Okay.
waste the cash.
Okay.
He's gonna let us know as soon as he's ready with his half.
Okay, maybe I'll follow up with him then. Okay. Update on our DFA wildfire claim. So backing up to 2019, we had a wildfire that Shiloh actually had, and it kind of progressed, and we had a prevention set up with our fire department so that it didn't jump the line. So costs to pay our departments to be out there and had the highway closed there for a while, and just kind of preventative costs we submitted to the government to see if they would give us money back. They got back to us and said that basically it wasn't enough of a financial burden on the municipality that they would not open up a DFA claim. So we are currently fighting them to get our money back because a representative from the province showed up. We never called him when the wildfire was happening. He showed up here and didn't leave for 3 days and ordered us, like basically instructed us to do this. So council had a resolution that, they would declare a state of local emergency and that we would open up funding for a DFA application, and it fell all in that jurisdiction of the financial assistance. However, they have now denied it, but that is a provincial representative coming out instructing us, so we're not gonna know a difference, right? So we're going through a battle with the province right now on this. I have scheduled a meeting with Eileen Clark, Minister of Municipal Relations, for our convention next week to sit down with her. So if you are coming to convention, which I'm getting to, I would like you all to attend and listen in because they basically kind of brushed us off. So it's about $90,000 that we're out, that we've paid. So it was Neepawa Fire Department, Carberry Fire Department, Glenboro Fire Department, Wawanesa, and McGregor. So that has basically, that's our major costs in this, and they all were under the understanding that if we didn't get money back from the government, that they would reimburse us back, which I kind of think we have to do right now because we're out $90,000, and if they just give us our money back and eventually we will give it back to them, like it kind of would wash, but right now we need to get that money back because it's our taxpayers that are important right now. So we also have sent correspondence off to Shiloh. Because obviously that was a fire that started on their base. They had initiated that, so we're trying to put some kind of onus on them for that as well. I haven't heard back from anybody on that either, so we're kind of
Still fighting.
just sitting, but I'm not letting it go. So just so you're kind of all aware, if anybody mentions a wildfire claim, this is what it's all about.
Especially when the guy was sitting right there telling us
Yeah.
what we had to do and we could get claimed back.
Yeah, the promise was made from him, like you would think a provincial representative, he knows what he's talking about, he's all this, advice, so you take it. Anyway, that's kind of an update on that. 2021 audit, I'm still working with our auditors. I'm not gonna say too much, but I'm fighting with them right now. Our audits, normally our audits are due June 30th of each year to be done. Myers Norris Penny does our audit, they're contracted to do our audit. They have always put a delay on our audit. I've been after them, it's not done. We've sent all their information to them, I'm just waiting on them.
Is this the second year of our 2-year?
So I am renewing, so I have audit tenders out right now to get for the next few years, so I haven't.
The town has been happy with their.
Yes. So anyway, just so you know on that perspective, because with our audit not being done, it holds back us applying for our new PUB rates for our utility. It also holds back our gas tax funding as well that we get from the government. So that's an issue. Convention is next week. So I think everybody is attending. I think so. It's on Monday to the Wednesday. We usually go in on the Sunday night. And I've got rooms booked, all in your names individually, so if you show up at different times, your name will be in the system, so you can just go on in whenever you'd like. Gala tickets, I have purchased individually. It's Delta, sorry, yes. So it's right where the,
Yeah.
I will send out an email and information on this a little bit later, but just so you know. And then there's a gala on the Tuesday night, and we all usually attend. If you are bringing a spouse, that's fine, I just need to know and order an extra gala ticket. So. if
I'm not
anybody-
planning on attending like these are just coming once. Staying back
Yeah, and I think Debbie's
there. So if
coming.
you have an
over.
extra one, feel free to use mine.
Yeah, and I didn't know if anybody else's spouse's grant is,
Yeah, it's Heather's coming.
yeah, okay.
If your spouse is coming, you're responsible for their ticket? For the price of it?
I'll take that.
Yeah, and just,
Happy
yeah,
price,
You're
Malcolm.
being a good neighbor.
There you go.
Half price.
yeah, and for convention, just make sure that
Just bring
when you
your ball.
go, and you're paying for a meal, I'll be there with you normally, and I'll just have it all and I'll put it on the municipal card. But if you're, going out for lunch with some other person, pay for it, give me your receipt and I'll reimburse you. If a spouse is coming for breakfast or whatever, obviously you know that they would be responsible for paying for their own meal. The convention is meant for council members only, so yes, you can bring your spouse to the hotel and whatnot, but they should not be involved in the work-related convention matters, so just so you know. And then I would like to schedule a personnel meeting soon, so I'll send an email about that, but I think I'm done.
Quick question, are we gonna have a meeting with the emergency, Brad Wills, or can you tell me something?
So, so our emergency plan has to be approved before the end of the year. I've reached out to Brad Wells and Teresa Parker, she's our assistant EMO. So they are working on the plan, and Brad is actually in Hawaii, or he's somewhere on the beach. And they're gonna send me the plan, and then they will review it with council, and then we have to approve that by our next meeting. So yes, that's on the table.
Do we have to have a run through again?
We would have to, Brad, yeah, if it's new
Yeah.
council, we should.
Yep.
So we'll go over how that should all we'll do it like a demo or a
Yeah.
test on
Turn
how.
the lights off.
Yeah. But yes, that's a good point, Harold, thank you.
Any other comments, anybody? We're down to the one everybody likes, the adjournment. Resolution 2252, 2022. Be it resolved that the regular meeting of council now adjourn at
12:14
12:14
PM.
PM, I guess, no? We have a mover,
Oh, hey,
seconder.
hey, nobody wants to leave, eh?
All in favor? Thank you very much, everybody.